Alright. There's one thing I need to address this morning. Goodness. Look, y'all, I would be editing some, I'd be clipping more, but no, right now I just gotta hit go, 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 go. I'm not kidding. Like, these people, they're gonna get angrier and angrier and angrier, and that's why I also need somebody out there to fucking address this shit, because these people are so fucking psychopathic. Unfortunately, includes members of my own actual family to some extent, and they're completely willing to commit real acts of violence. Real acts of violence, which is not just not okay. In fact, it's so fucking sick how my own family members, some of them, not all of them, but some of them will openly just, they think this shit is some church group, and they don't realize how fucking dangerous these people are. They really don't fucking have any idea whatsoever. That's what's so terrible. That's how fucking, deceiving these people are. It's so despicable. Fix that in a minute. Look, I was engineering multi-streaming technology, y'all. There's no question about that. These people, I'm not even mad about them stealing my work, even though, of course, I'm frustrated, yo. Anybody would be. Any of you would be. It's like being treated, they've stolen my identity. These people have treated me like a warm fucking body over and 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 over again. That's all I fucking am to these people. They don't give a fuck about me as a human being in any way, shape, or form, y'all. They've literally, without even obeying the law, they've just fucking tried to do everything they can to enslave me. Literally enslave me with reckless abandon, including now committing violent crime, trying to actually frame me, which is despicable. And what does that mean, y'all? First of all, I found that apparently that's not even uncommon for these fucking people. That's not even uncommon. That's what's so terrible. That's why if you work in the government and you fucking think this shit is okay, y'all. No, it is not okay. The family is not okay. They're victimizing innocent Americans to try to frame innocent Americans, which is despicable and completely something that we cannot tolerate in any way. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. So I can tell you right now, I mean, I've told my grandmother that I vape nicotine, and she's gonna have to accept, just like everyone else in my family, she's gonna have to get over it. I'll be honest with you, like if she has an issue with it. For example, today I have not vaped at all yet, which I'm not even. It's not like I'm I need to so bad. It's just like, well, that's the thing, y'all. I mean, you people got to be fucking adults and understand the difference between addiction and, quite frankly, folks who are conscious of what they're doing. And I am, y'all. That's the thing that's so terrible. I am. For my family to act like oh yeah, I just that's the thing they don't realize. There's this chasm between okay, people making their own choices, and you're members of a fucking murderous mafia that will kill innocent people trying to frame your own family member, yo. There's not exactly any fucking comparison. That's what's so terrible. Every moment my own family sits around just oh no, my grandmother said to me, she was DEA, they can't smoke cigarettes on the job, can they? I was oh my god, I love you, I actually do, but I wish you even fucking knew what these people were doing on the job. There are so many people strung up in this organization and strung out on their power. And my hair, I'll be honest, I'm just even, not that I didn't see in the mirror now, but I'm just emphasizing. I'm very conscious, and my hair looks fucking ridiculous right now, especially after I've got, bed head, right? Bed head, let me emphasize, that's all that I have. You people have fucking meth heads in the DEA. You people have fucking straight up, that's what I'm saying. These people are addicted to their power and their greed, and they just don't know how to put it down, yo. They're the real addicts, and they just don't know how to put it down. They need help. All this about their inner circles of leadership in the family, y'all. Well, this is the thing that sucks. They do have inner circles. There's no question about that, y'all. There's some real folks that are parts of, the inner circle, but they all just answer to fucking Putin. Fucking Putin. And so what is the degree of involvement from the CCP, yo? Well, this is how I think it works, and this is what I'm still investigating, right? How dare I openly explain the parts of my investigation? See, that's a nuance that I'll address, yo. What I've found and what I really believe is the truth, yo. And this is the thing. I've got a lot of evidence backing this up. I mean, China is, secretly in the dark, they're very much allies with Russia, which should not be surprising, yo. They look over at America and they're like, oh no, well, we got to play this smart, We're kind of financially, right? China and America are very much, there's a lot of strings right there, right? It has a lot to do with supply chain, but it also has a lot to do with Taiwan, yo. TCMC. We need to, we need to protect, really. Like, that's the thing. China treats them like they own them and they don't. And that's one of the things. They're so mad about Nancy Pelosi, right? It's like they're so mad. Everyone in America needs to look at these, portions of geopolitics and actually put the pieces together. That's what I'm saying, y'all. I'm saying that we have to be better. Everyone. It's all of our responsibility, y'all. At the same time, I'm not trying to, accuse you of being dumb. That's what's so ridiculous. I'm telling you that this is a responsibility that we all share to be on the same page about this. I mean, it's actually psychopathic if you think about it, how the Chinese are just like, no, you're your own country, and internationally you're recognized as your own country, but you are ours. And why? I mean, there's a lot of reasons, honestly, but that's the whole thing. Like, look how fucking, paper thin it all is when you just kind of lay it all out. And there's, I've always, from the beginning of this, y'all, I want to let the real professionals do their jobs. I've said that over and over and over again. And that's the thing, y'all. It's like, these people have persecuted the fuck out of me. They've tried to starve me. They've not just defamed me. Oh, Jesus Christ, they've not just defamed the living fuck out of me with so many of you out there who cling. I'll be honest, y'all, you just cling. You cling to perjury, straight up conscious perjury that's been committed. You cling to an idea that, oh no, there hasn't been a corrupt district attorney that's a member of the same organization, the family. Greg Abbott is a member of the family. Ken Paxton is a member of the family. Ted Cruz is a member of the family. John Cornyn is a member of the family. Why do you think I'm tweeting at all of them, y'all? I'm not trying to be a dick. That's the main thing. They've been more than fucking dicks to me. They're murderous fucking psychopaths. And you need to keep that little image of the puppy with the muzzle on its face, y'all, in mind, because that's exactly what I am. I'm a harmless little fucking puppy, all right? I'm a human being, don't get me wrong, y'all, but figuratively, I would protect any of you, even those of you who have been so goddamn cruel to me, even you. I'm sorry. I'll go back there. Yeah, that tree out there, do you see that? Do you see that tree is blooming as well? This is how fucking despicable this organization is, y'all. They've got my 92-year-old grandmother, who I love very much. She has much more severe dementia than she's willing to admit. I'm not trying to say she can't be independent, because she can, y'all. But they're up in her brain. And they know exactly what the fuck they're doing. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing, y'all. They're so psychopathic about this shit. And honestly, that's the thing. It's like, she's just vulnerable as fuck, y'all. She'll listen to them. You know, I'm sitting here explaining to her that, well, grandmother, I am innocent and it's irrefutable. And in the past already, what is it? Not in the long past at all, yo. What is she saying? Oh, I don't know who to believe. Like, yes, you fucking do. Oh, yes, you do, grandmother. Yes, you know who to believe. Oh my God. It's so despicable, y'all. The number of folks in law enforcement that openly serve this organization like slaves. That's how they're the #1 sex traffickers in the United States. And quite frankly, people just sit around like, oh, they don't know. Oh, they don't know. Well, you all know now. And you can't claim that you don't know, y'all. You can't claim that you don't know. So if you're in law enforcement, you're trying to justify this fucking trash behavior. That's the thing, y'all. I love my grandmother very much. I love everyone, you know, in my actual family. But we've got videos of this fucking family, and that's the thing. We're going to pull up some of those videos right now. I said recursively, I'm going to have to revisit. We're going to talk about Doug Coe standing on stage way back when, saying that you need to put your own family ahead of, well, everything, excuse me, you need to put the family ahead of your own family. That's what I'm saying, y'all. It's disgusting. Straight up communism, straight up conscious fucking Nazism. And that's the weird thing, y'all. You're hearing it from the mouth of the man who is factually a KGB asset. There's no other way to say it. He always has been. And that's what's so frustrating, yo. Some of the videos I pull up, and you won't understand. Some of them are, you know, general research, quite frankly. Some of them are more like, well, this one, for example, yo, I don't even remember. I've heard of the story in passing, yo, but I still would have to read about it more, right? I'm mainly saying, yo, I'm not in any way anti-government. I obey the law. And that's what frustrates me so much, is the narrative around this shit has been so paper thin from the beginning. And why? They have to lie about me because they know I'm an innocent little puppy, and they refuse, y'all. They completely refuse to just allow me to live my goddamn life because they know I'm a good person. Because, well, they'll sit around and they'll bitch about nicotine, something that I have every choice and every right if I so choose. As I've even said myself, if it were not for me being fucking starved out, literally, y'all, fucking tortured now for 3 years straight, I wouldn't be vaping any nicotine at all, y'all, and I really wouldn't be vaping anything. The honest to God truth is, these fucking people, and I'm not vaping anything else to emphasize, y'all, that's what they will continually dumb fuck lie and say in law enforcement. Why would you want to be fucking slaves to these goddamn people? You make yourselves look like you don't have any fucking loyalty to your own country. Because, well, if you're serving them, y'all, you don't. And you can't even claim that you do. For my 92-year-old grandmother, y'all, to be obsessive about, like, oh my God, is he outside again? And, like, I'm actually half the time, y'all, that's the thing, they're fucking filming me naked, you know, back in this residence again, which is why I'm fucking, well, I'm not naked, y'all, but I'm filming myself to raise awareness to these fucking evil goddamn people, y'all. That's exactly why. They've got, you know, my grandmother who I love very much, but they're taking advantage of her so fucking pathologically and with such fucking conscious embrace psychosis, y'all. She honestly, she can be independent, but she's even said to me, don't talk about the family, right? When I first get here, she's spewing all of this about politics. January 6th was not even a bad thing. They were just wanting to go in and see the Capitol. You know, that's the problem, y'all, is I love, you know, my actual relatives very much, but not one of them could even, you know, debate me and not end up sounding really fucking dumb. And that's the thing, y'all. I muzzle myself out of kindness, quite frankly. And I'm just like so damn polite, you know. I hear you, you know. You're allowed to have your own opinions. I'll always acknowledge that, you know. And then it's like they ask for my opinion and I'm still muzzled and I'm like just a little whisper of the truth. And they're like, oh no. And it's like, that's the thing. It's so fucking, it's so like straight up terrible, y'all. Is that they just can't even handle hearing the real truth in any way, right? And the truth that I'm whispering is never like, oh, you're in the mafia, right? It's like, no, it's like, oh, January 6th was actually really, really bad. Oh my God, what do you know? And it's like, oh, okay, Donald Trump, you know, I'm just saying, you know, some people have accused him of being, you know, like an actual cokehead, and it's like, oh, no, you're just judging him. You're just judging him. It's like, I'm not even saying I'm accusing him. This is so weird. Like, other people, I'm not even just spreading, quote, misinformation. Like, that's exactly what has been said about him. You think about his history and, you know, the circles that he's been in and the length of time, you know, the pictures of, well, him with a drawer open in his office, and what does he have? A bunch of specific type of nasal decongestants, y'all, that he's taking. Why? Because they're stimulants, y'all. At the very least, he's an addict to uppers, if you need to put it that way, y'all. He goes up on stage and he's like, fight like hell! Like, do you think that, you know, that comes out of nothing? Well, that's the thing, y'all. I'm not even sitting here saying, like, we'd have to drug test Donald, you know, we'd have to watch him every moment of his life, and look at the fucking absolute doublespeak of these people. They're like, how dare you be, well, completely having been fucking abused at your job, so many people fucking taking advantage of your time. And let me emphasize, y'all, really, when it comes down to it, this is about, well, culture to some extent, y'all. The culture of this little tiny dumb fuck company in Austin was always just like, no, you don't dare, you know, say anything to the evil parent company. And we have multiple parent companies, y'all. What was so fucking dumb. You know, they hated the first parent company, which is much smaller. By the time that the second one came around, y'all, all of their fucking bullshit fell on deaf ears from me. And that's what I need all of you to understand. Because they're just that incompetent about it, y'all, to be honest with you. They always have been. They weren't ever reasonable about the first parent company. And then the second one is like, wait, this is not even close to the same company as the first company, yo. Like, what the fuck are you actually thinking? You're like, you're gonna finesse them like you tried to do with the other one? Like, oh my God, you fucking people. And then they'll accuse me of everything under the sun, of course, y'all. Quote, being, quote, disgruntled. Like, there isn't, literally, that's what's so fucking ridiculous. Like, I was such a goddamn loyal fucking slave dog for these people for so damn long. And they can't take back any of that resoundingly positive feedback. You know, some of these managers that were in that company in Austin, they wanted me to be on their team. Yeah, like, that's how fucking sneaky and psychotic they are, y'all. At that point, they didn't want me to be on their team at all. They wanted to abuse their position of power over me. It's exactly what they wanted to do. And that's what's so terrible, y'all. They're more than willing to destroy your fucking family, your actual family, right? I wouldn't have guessed, you know, that the managers and that were, you know, members of this organization, but in a way, y'all, they just had common interests line up all at the same time, and that was part of the problem. It's like all of the fucking evil forces of the right combined powers. And even people that, like one of the managers, like more on the left, to be honest with you, but he's still like, combined powers because I fucking hate you. Yeah, make sure you only go to Brian if you have any concerns. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, wait, what if I have any concerns that are, kind of important to, go about both of you? And it's like, like what? It's like, oh, I don't know, it's like, it had nothing to do with like some white collar crimes you committed, or like, of course, I'm not saying that, that's the whole point. They're like, what concerns would you have that, need to go over Brian's head? Oh, well, I just kind of like, what's the course of action? You're saying that if I ever have any concerns at all, then I need to go to the man who, like, investigation has found is receiving automated transcripts of every one of my private, confidential conversations, that is literally trying to muzzle me actively, with help from the DEA, and I guess, like, TFPS to some extent, fucking Austin Police Department, like, fucking Hayes County Sheriff's, it's like, wow, look how they're all just fucking strung together in the exact same criminal, straight up consciously criminal public corruption, all strung up together, one big old massive fucking case in real life, y'all, real life. It is actually kind of bizarre to me, y'all. Like, zoom out on this picture, like, wow. I use movies and it's not funny, and I'm not even like really. I use movies as a communication method alone. Film, and really like, wow. There's a strange, uncanny resemblance there if I ever did see one. And that's what's so weird to me, y'all. Well, they will accuse me of everything under the sun. Like, this guy's running around fucking his subordinate employees, and that's the thing, he's not even at a private, quote, private company, he's in a government fucking role, it's like he's government, paid employees. He's like, yeah, I'm your boss, you wanna, fucking suck my dick? Yeah, you want this Ken dick right here? Yeah, you want that? Yeah, no, I'm not like, evil or anything like that. Yeah, I just think it's so funny and cool, and we're part of the straight up goddamn Russian mafia. Yeah, isn't that so cool? How about you suck this dick? And then all of you people are like, oh yeah, Bill Clinton, and fucking like really, y'all, like, I'm not even defending anybody, getting their fucking dick sucked. What I'm saying is like, oh my god, you people that double speak and the fucking propaganda, like, for real, for real. Why did this article disappear quite some time ago at first, y'all? What is this article really about? And that's the whole point, y'all, is that you have not realized from the beginning, this is the level of what has been going on here, y'all. And part of why my behavior has been so strange. Am I a little bit eccentric? Well, a little bit, y'all. That's the thing. I'm not even that eccentric in any way, shape, or form. Let me emphasize that. I'm actually a really fucking normal guy. But see, you create this super fucking, like, deeply perverted context, really, like, super, like, oh my god, I'm sitting there in my apartment, just like, I have a lot of the clues and the pieces, there's a lot of things that none of you had any idea about, which I can't really talk about, right? And I'm just like, these fucking people, like, they're sitting here terrorizing me, these coworkers of mine, no one could have ever even considered them to be good people, like, in any way. And like, these people are sitting there, like, abusing me, just openly, like, fucking not just bullying me, like, that's the thing, I can take some bullying, but you're fucking filming somebody in their goddamn home, you know, and that's the thing is like, okay, not filming at first, it seems like, right? But just listening even to them and you're sitting around like, what was that? Yeah, yeah, oh my God, you know, like, what was that sound, everybody? Oh my God, right? I'm getting calls and everybody's like, like this super fucking abusive, this psychopathically abusive managers that, you know, I've worked with for years and they didn't even know I had no respect for them at all in a personal capacity, yo. Absolutely zero respect for him in a personal capacity, really. Because when it came down to it, yo, like in a professional capacity, well, I can always be a professional, even with people that I, you know, realize like personally, like don't deserve anybody's fucking respect in a personal capacity. And I just am too polite to say it, you know, especially because there's some good people around there, yo. That's the truth. There's some good people around there. And it's like, I just don't want to put you in a spot where I'm like, yeah, you know, just to let you know, like, you know, fucking Michael, you know, he's you know, been terrorized by this abusive motherfucker. And like, quite frankly, you know, I shouldn't even use the word terrorized. Obviously, Michael is like a fucking, he became this evil goddamn person throughout this. And why? You know, I'm sending him this article and he's so mad, y'all. He's so mad because he knows it's true. That's why. Because he knows with his uncle, right? They're sitting around and they're like, oh no, yeah, we're gonna take his music. And like, Michael knows my music better than anyone. It's like, just genuine and heartfelt. It's not any kind of veiled anything. Like, it's like he knows I barely ever work on it in my free time. He hears me playing the fucking piano, like straight up, you know, like, you know, really, and that's what's so dumb, y'all. I don't care, you know, even on that note, can I play the piano? Well, point of contention, maybe. I don't give a fuck about any of your opinions, y'all. For real, it's like if I want to sit in front of the keyboard and make some sound, if I want to sit there and just be like, ning, 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 ning for 3 hours straight, well then, to be honest with you, y'all, then I will be. But see, that's the problem with the way these fucking people have operated, is that they really are, y'all, like, truly, this whole time, they've been just trying to abuse the trust of the police, law enforcement. If you're still on the side of this fucking the family, you are traitors, yo. You are straight up fucking traitors. I came up here for a literal safe house. I put notes in that phone trying to explain, but I cannot explain in brief. All right, and I had a level of concern. Don't get me wrong; it's not a reference to a song, even, y'all. I had a level of concern, like, oh, you know, I'm having faith. Like, surely, you know, I posted very publicly and irrefutably, I'm not fleeing. I explained as much of the context as I could, you know, and that's the thing in Denver, y'all. I clearly see that some people definitely do understand, y'all. Some people, I'm not speaking for anybody, some people straight up do understand, and then other people, well, that's the thing, they have no fucking idea. And that's, you know, law enforcement, let me put it this way, all right? I accidentally took a toll one time here. If you try to fucking push on shit like that towards me in this, I'm being so fucking public right now and saying that it's not just gonna be a bad look, y'all. It's not just gonna be a bad look. That's my point. It's not just going to be a bad look. It's going to make you look like, well, the world's most despicably evil fucking people. After you know you have no plausible deniability. I've been subjected to relentless, illegal modern slavery, yo. Relentless, illegal modern slavery for years. And that's exactly what these people have tried to take advantage of, is just creating fucking confusion. But see, I'm not confused in any way, shape, or form, yo. If you sit me down and that's the point. Like I've been saying in Austin, I was like, fucking sit me down. That's the thing, yo. You want to try to fucking accuse me of shit I didn't do? See, I'm not trying to be mean, yo, but I saw Making a Murderer, right? And I saw, like, you know, their interview with Brendan Dassey, y'all. You put me in a fucking room with a camera and you try that shit, is what I'm saying. You fucking try that manipulative bullshit. Like, oh yeah, so, you know, like, you fucking try it with me, please. Fucking please, because you are not just going to look fucking stupid, y'all. I will sit there like a lawyer and I will literally go through all of it, and there's not a moment of this that you're ever going to deny, y'all. It's all public record. And mind you, y'all, it's not even just public record in one location. Part of the reason I'm multi-streaming, it's public record in multiple locations. And don't worry, y'all. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you people in the DEA, for example, they think they're confident enough to, stalk me digitally. Like, oh, they've got access to all my devices. And, like, they don't even understand this modem right here that's sitting on my desk. They don't even understand, like, oh, yeah, Chuck comes over and commits a fucking federal felony, y'all. You think Comcast and Xfinity are, like, not going to be a little bit upset about that shit, y'all? And that's the thing. You're like, oh, well, it's just your grandmother's internet connection. That's beside the point, y'all. That speaks to what? Conscious fucking criminality. You understand? There's no reasonable defense of that behavior. Not only is it definitely a fucking federal felony, that local authorities, y'all, that's the thing, you understand? If you arrest me, it's like, wow, there's a hate crime that's been committed. I can prove that shit. They used a saw to cut down that tree to try to fucking murder me. Why do you think I'm even sleeping right here on this couch, y'all, with 2 cameras, one of which you cut off last night during this? That's what's so fucking terrible. Y'all, for anybody that doesn't know why, that watches this later, that's never been a joke, alright? Voyager 1, of course, has NSO Group's Pegasus installed in this device, and they think they're like sneaky mind readers because they're so dumb. God, I left them note after note. Like, please do not make the same mistakes as those who came before you. Please do not make the same mistakes as the dumb fucking evil fucking people, quite frankly, that came before you. I'm aware of culture, y'all. I'm aware that you think you're like backing the blue. Like, they're fucking psychopathic liars, y'all. That's the problem. You're not just backing the blue. You're actually just piling criminal charges for yourselves. Every single moment you try to help those people. That's the thing. If you're going to surveil, then you listen to my voice, y'all, because I'm serious. You sit me down and, well, that's the thing, y'all, like the whole time, I'll always be calm. I've said before, it's like you got to obey the law, and none of you give a fuck, apparently. Let me emphasize why, y'all. That hate crime right out there, that tree in the backyard, y'all. Well, how do I put this? You're already in straight up fucking federal felony territory, like more than a few federal felonies, y'all. Because let you know, the feds very much are aware that that is a straight up fucking hate crime. That is the most serious type of crime in this entire country. And so every moment that you're not arresting Chuck Thompson, he's been back up here with a chainsaw. He's been back up here with a fucking gun on his leg, y'all, like the other day. He's got a gun on the back of his fucking leg. So how the fuck do you people try to defend that shit? This man is committing hate crimes, violent fucking hate crimes, which could have hurt more than just me. That's what pisses me off, y'all. Again and again and again, you people are more than willing to sacrifice innocent American life, trying to destroy my innocent American life. It's just like Connor and Jack lying about ever having keys in their car, yo. They were lying. Really, literally, they were lying every fucking moment. And you all knew that. And that's what's so terrible. For anybody in law enforcement to, even try to turn a blind eye to that kind of shit, it's so fucking terrible, yo. So fucking terrible. And that's the thing. I very much appreciate y'all. I can't speak for anybody. I don't even know how it happened. But I'm driving back. I know that they never had keys, y'all. You know what? I don't have superhuman hearing. But, I have very sensitive ears, okay? And some of you have revved up your shit so damn loud. It really doesn't even bother me that much. Let me let you know, y'all. It's more of just like, wow, these people are really, fucking dumb. Like, they think their truck or their motorcycle is actually, like, scary. Like, yeah, you wish it was because you're insecure motherfuckers. But it does, y'all. It hurts my ears a little bit sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I am the kind of person that you will see at a concert with some earplugs in sometimes, y'all. Because really, like, oh my God, I do enjoy the feel of the bass, but like, oh, my fucking ears hurt. Like, it does actually hurt. Talk about sensory overload, okay? but I mean it when I say, yo, like, I'm not even trying to be overly humorous. I'm really trying to put all this down in a way that other people will be able to genuinely understand. Like, look how despicable. I'm not kidding, yo. They never had keys in that car. And then what do they do? And what are they planning on doing that night, y'all? obviously, what they're planning on doing, well, Jack, of course, he brings me over away from the car, and he's like, oh, hey, can you come 10 steps away from this vehicle, please? First of all, again, to remind y'all, I said I'll have to revisit things. What sucks is it's like, God, how many times do I have to tell this story? Really, and it is, y'all. It's a true fucking story. These people get in my car, and as soon as I get up to this location, I'm not. It's not like, oh my God, a fear in my stomach. I'm just like, oh damn it. I'll be honest, y'all. I'm a very I'm not a robot, but I'm a very how do you put it? I notice, the minutia a lot of times, okay? Nobody can be perfectly, that's the thing, y'all. It's like they designed this shit where it's like it's supposed to be very, very sneaky, right? And it's like very sneaky. All right, it's like, okay, a one-way bridge in and of itself, though, y'all, is a big, big, big sign for me. And why is that, y'all? One-way bridge, I mean, you talk about security. That's smart. That's actually smart, right? It's like if you just need to make sure that, you're securing a facility, for example. A one-way bridge is very, very helpful for that shit, right? And so it's like, I get a lift ride, y'all, and that's the thing. I don't have a, fucking robot brain. I'm talking about, I have an elephant brain. I do have a better, memory than any of you have fucking, given credence to, it would seem. Not any of you, but some of you. And that's where it's like, it's difficult because when it comes down to it, I'm just like following the map. Everybody has to be a fucking human being, even though you're treating me like, less than a fucking slave dog you're trying to muzzle and destroy when I'm just an innocent puppy. In reality, I'm just following the fucking map, and I'm like, okay, where is this going? I'm like, it's dark. The first time I've ever even been there, y'all, I didn't even want to be there the first time, if I'm being honest. I was kind of like, okay, I see some stuff I don't like to see back here. I would very much like to leave, and then I'm leaving, and I'm like, shit, okay, I had to turn left thinking there was an exit here. And I drive by some, very, well, that's the thing, y'all, I don't want to say it this way, but like the very wealthy looking people walking, and they kind of give me some mean looks, and I'm like, it's so weird, y'all. I'm a white dude. I'm not trying to act like that's what's so fucking terrible. But somehow, okay, I'm just trying to be, fair, y'all. Never for a moment did I want to talk about race in any way, shape, or form. But to some of these people in Texas, y'all, I'm like straight up, the gangster G of all, talk about, bias and just like fucking, oh my God, y'all, that's the double speak too. They'll pretend like, oh, I don't even know who you are. Yeah, no, they'll all lie like fucking psychopaths because they act like I'm, quote, schizo, and like they act like they're sneaky. Like I don't know that they're all talking, not just shit about me, y'all. They're acting like I'm some big bad, like Beto almost, y'all. They're like, oh yeah, that's the drug lord Beto. Yeah, like Beto's such a fucking drug lord. Like who do you think was behind that, y'all? That's what I'm saying. It actually is that. When I say that the grapevine in Texas is small, that's kind of what I mean, y'all. I'm not trying to say the state of Texas is small. It's obviously not. I'm saying the grapevine, y'all, like they kind of keep it that way, like even from the governor and really district attorneys, the attorney general's office, like undercover law enforcement, DEA, sheriff's sheriff's offices, right? Like they're all kind of like in this one grapevine that's like so tightly wound, that really it's like they share everything. And that's the thing, y'all. That's the way the Russians want it. They look over at Texas like they're chump change for them. They do, and that's what I'm just letting you know, y'all. When you play a part of this shit, down in Texas, they're like really, I'm trying to be fair to you because like look how despicable it is, y'all. They put all these resources into consciously formed propaganda to try to keep you in a state of literal bigotry, to try to keep you in, and you're like, oh, please don't get mad when I say bigotry, y'all, because really at the end of the day, what am I saying is ignorance, right? And ignorance is not a word that we should be, angry about, like really we're all born ignorant, I say it all the time, and I'll be honest, I know my dad, for example, hates the fucking word bigot, which I'll be honest, y'all, is a little bit of a, sign of something, like psychologically. It's like, why does he hate that word so much? It doesn't bother me if people call me a bigot, y'all. I mean, I know who I am. I know what I am, but it's like the attitude, state of mind, or behavior characteristic of, well, a bigot, intolerance, right? That's the thing. It's like, I'm no drug lord, I'm no drug dealer, I'm no drug anything is the thing, y'all, but but they just don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about the truth, and that's what I'm saying. When there's like, you know, rich white people in Texas, you know, it's like, wow, how dare I say that as a white person? But you know, how shitty is it? You know, it's not that there are not people of you know, all kinds of different color skin as well that hate me, y'all. As I'm DEA, for example, they thought that was like in their favor, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, this is clearly more than about race, you know, and that's what they want. A lot of them, they want to make it some one-dimensional fucking shit. Like, oh yeah, he's just a like white guy, you know. He's just like, they've been so fucking despicable in real life, y'all. Like covertly in a lot of ways, they've been so fucking despicable towards me in a relentless number of ways, y'all. And kind of like, you know, this guy, it's like, you know, so I've been always trying to give like plausible deniability, you know, to these people. Like, you know, I've been trying to, like, maybe they didn't know, but then that's the point, y'all. It's like when I'm communicating publicly the way that I have been way back when about this shit, you know, there's federal investigation that, you know, nobody officially tells me, y'all. How do I know something like that? Because you gotta understand, I'm educated, y'all. And way back in March of 2020 already, I'm just like, this is some actual straight up, like, this is so many fucking federal felonies, and this is not just gonna catch some eyes and some ears. So it really should have been notable for everyone when I'm blasting music the way that I am. And I'd say blasting, y'all, just turning it up really loud in my own apartment. Look how peaceful. You know, I'm militant in my advocation for and implementation of peace. Everyone should have realized what the fuck was going on, y'all. As I'm just sitting there like, yeah, you people are really gonna fucking do this to me? Try to fucking destroy my whole life? Some straight up Count of Monte Cristo bullshit right now? Like, no, you are not gonna get away with that. And all of you need to understand how relevant it is when people, good engineers, good people, are quitting their whole job saying, no, that's wrong. You're trying to destroy this man and his life, Brian, and you know it. You fucking know it. And that's where it's like, now you gotta be better, because you're not gonna get away with that shit. And to be honest with you, I appreciate that man so much. Y'all, he's not the only one. That's the thing. He is certainly not the only one who has chosen to do the right thing, and I appreciate every single person who has, because Jesus Christ, y'all, when you're staring something like that down in that moment, and you're just like, wow, you're really gonna be that fucking consciously evil towards me, lie to these people like fucking psychopaths, and you make me sort through, does law enforcement know, or are they just that evil too? Which one is it? And now I have to investigate and find out. I'm not even sure at first. look, there's so many different ways that, you know, I have to address this now, yo. Including fucking streaming when I sleep at this moment. Understand? I'm gonna stream. I'm not gonna stop until these people fucking stop. I'm not kidding, y'all. Anybody local? It's not mental illness and you know it. I'm not saying I'm going to stream every single shower, y'all. But like, I'm going to keep while streaming some of the showers I take. You know why? Because it's fucking despicably evil for any of you to sit around and turn a blind eye to this bullshit, yo. I'm not a schizophrenic. It's so fucking evil how these people have treated me. And quite frankly, it's so fucking evil how they think it's okay to abuse perceptions around mental health care and psychiatry. And I refuse to tolerate that bullshit, yo. I have a zero tolerance policy for that fucking bullshit for the rest of my life, yo. I really do. I really, really fucking do. It's not okay, yo. And you all know it's not okay. You all know that is, quite frankly, speaking of corruption, y'all, that's what I'm saying. All right? When you don't just turn a blind eye. That's what I'm saying, y'all. At this point, I mean, I was sitting there trying to decide, you know, some of these investigators that keep coming up to Panda, do I just sit down with you? Y'all, and that's the challenge. You understand? I'm that kind of person, and part of me wants to. I'm serious, y'all. When I go up to that job, you know, it's not a fucking cover job, y'all. But like, there's nothing more important than this, and that's what's so terrible, y'all. I have no income. I need a computer. I need a secure cell phone. Okay, it's basically the two fucking things that I needed from that job. And so I'm also like, what else? Okay, I'll get, you know, some food while I can because I've been fucking starved relentlessly. And that's exactly what they want. These people want to treat me like a fucking slave and film it. Like, yeah, look at that, yo. He can't even get himself some food. He can't even, you know, make his own food. You know, he has to order, you know, food delivery or this kind of shit. Like, I can't fucking cook because these people, like, they want to make it a goddamn safety hazard if I even go to a fucking grocery store, which is so despicably evil. So fucking evil. Blasting somebody's location out there the way they were in Texas. That is some fucking straight up evil goddamn trash. Like, hey, mafia, everybody in our violent fucking mafia, yep, go get him, yep, fucking destroy him, you know, drive your fucking truck, you know, just run him over, and like, literally so many times that it was so close and it had nothing to do with my driving, y'all. People just fucking out of their minds at this psychotic bullshit, eating up all these lies about me. And that's the thing that's so difficult, y'all. It's like, not only have you been psychologically tortured fucking relentlessly, you have a neurological disability these people are fucking denying, and you're just sitting there like needing people to understand who and what you really are, which is you're being fucking muzzled. These people don't want you to talk because they know that they're implicated. And the thing is, then it's like, wow, if I talk, right, you know, don't say it, don't you fucking say it, that there was gang involvement, don't say it, no, and he fucking knows better than anybody who he really serves. And that's why he's spinning. He's like, oh yeah, Putin is such a problem. Yeah, fucking Putin. Yeah, Putin is such a problem, you know. And I'm like, sure, you know, I still got the muzzle on, and then, you know, you're keeping that muzzle on, and, you know, I'm trying to be nice and polite, and you have no idea how much more I could say, sure. You have no idea how, you know, like, loud this could get in my communication, sir. Like, so fucking public, like a lot of public fucking attention, and I don't want attention. That's the whole point. You people know better than anybody. I'm a super private man, and I just fucking want my privacy. Look how fucking evil you are. Look how fucking evil it is for them to find. It's like, wow, you know, it's like, not even, and trust me, do not fucking compare me to Doug Coe, yo. But Doug Coe is running around like, yeah, I'm not about the quote glory, and he's fucking KGB, yo. If anything, that's what's so terrible. He's fucking KGB. He's like an evil dude, and that's why he doesn't want people to know who he is or what he's really doing in the shadows behind it all. And for me, I'm not anything, you understand? I'm not associated with anyone. I'm like, if there is such a thing as like an ambassador for the planet Earth, even though I'm an American through and through, yo, I'm not a globalist. Let me emphasize that shit yet again. Like, it's so easy for me to say. It's like, I just care about this planet. I'm not, you know, hippie, you know, I'm not like a, you know, am I an environmentalist? Well, I mean, like, I don't like the ist part. Do I care about the environment? Yes, I do. I love nature. All right. One of the, you know, best parts about, there's so many amazing parts about this country, y'all, but like our national parks, and we have to remember, like, that did not come out of nothing, right? It's not easy even to make that happen. Some of you, that you kind of got to go back and actually think about our history. That land, you know, we had to protect it, y'all, and it took effort. It took real effort. So much beautiful land in this country. And you, like, that's the thing, y'all. I mean, you got somebody here that just, like, I really do from the bottom of my heart, okay? You know, I care about, like, I've always wanted to travel more and visit other places, but, like, I love this country, y'all. This is where I was born and raised, okay? I spent over, you know, half my life in the state of Texas. I spent the first half of my life, right? It was just kind of bittersweet, right? We always vacationed down to Texas, you know, Dallas. We spent a lot of time, man. We went to all kinds of cool places. We went to the Alamo. We went to the Riverwalk. You know, I remember going to the Riverwalk the first time. It's like, wow, this is like Star Wars. Going down under there, like, wow, look at this. You know, it's like the swamp, but like in a cool way. You know, it's not like a creepy or weird swamp. Like, I'll be honest, the water is a little bit, you know, kind of dirty, quite frankly. You know, do not drop your phone. Well, that's the thing, kind of sucks, y'all. I didn't even drop my own phone into the Riverwalk. I was standing there with my phone in my hand. And so I'm not going to say who, but somebody turns around and it's just like knocks it out because it's just like swoosh, like whipping her hand and like, oh God, my phone. I'm sitting there just like in a split second, I'm staring into the abyss of the San Antonio dirty Riverwalk water, and I'm just like, my phone, no. Talk about how much we care about our cell phones these days, y'all. That's the thing. Actually, let me emphasize, I don't even really give a fuck about, you know, physical possessions, and I mean it, y'all. This is what I want to emphasize. I'm just poor. I'm just poor as fuck, right? And I have insurance on that phone, and so this is the one thing about that situation. You know, I know it seems off topic, but this is the one thing about that situation, y'all, is I'm sitting there just like staring into the water, which is so dark, it's at night, right? And I'm like, well, I have insurance on this device that I bought, I believe, with Square Trade. You know, and I'm saying I know it was with certain, I think it was they were the Square Trade one. And I'm not trying to advertise for them, y'all. I'm just saying, like, it was like $50 to $100. Yeah, it was. This one, Allstate, I think, they didn't, I don't think Allstate owned them back, you know, then. But, like, I'll be honest, y'all, most of the time, I was looking at their, you know, insurance. I was looking at, I was researching, right? And I was like, well, this is a good deal. You know, I'm not, nothing against anyone else's insurance plan. But it's like, okay, for like, it's like $100 extra or something. It's like, if any worst case scenario, nothing's ever going to happen, right? Surely, you know, I'm standing there. I'm actually just literally like on my phone, right? Like doing something really quickly, you know, and that's the thing. I'm not even holding it like in a way that's like, you know, like so lightly. It's got like both hands on the device, like, you know, and really, I swear to God, it's just like, I wasn't even mad at the person, it's the honest to God truth, because, well, the frustrating thing was it's just like, it's just kind of being goofy and like really like snapping her hand and like just goes straight into my phone, and it's like direct impact out of my hands and straight one bounce on the concrete, and then, and I'm just sitting there like 0.01 seconds that just happened, and my whole life, and now these days, you know, like everything, wow, I'm in another city, you know, we were basically down there for, you know, a visit, and I'm just, I'm not even mad, like I said, I'm really just like, okay, well, I cannot use my insurance if I do not have the device, really, that's what sucks, y'all. I'm just like, the very first thought in my head is like, okay, I can get it replaced, but wait, no, I can't get it replaced, because now it's fucking down down there. And if I don't have it, they're gonna be like, well, no, sorry, I'm not trying to be mean to Square Trade, right? Like, not sponsored, of course. I'm sitting there, I'm just like, well, yeah, if you don't have the device, and kind of SOL, like, damn it. All right, so I'm sitting there and I'm saying to my friends the same thing. I'm like, hey, y'all, I'll be honest, I've got insurance on that thing, but like, I've got to get that out of that water. Like, there's only one way. Like, for real, that's what sucked, y'all. It's for the longest time. We're all just kind of like, and again, I don't want to, I could honestly sit here and give a lot more detail about this very, very kind of involved story, and some of the fallout that happened from it, but I'll just briefly summarize. The first thing that we're thinking is like, my buddies, my male buddies in that case, of course, right? We're all like, okay, let's think about it for a moment. Like, how are we going to get this shit out of there? And like, what, maybe there's like a grabber, like a dustpan or something. Somebody go find anything, and this is the problem though, y'all. I'm like, okay, I've got my eyes like right where it seems like it went down. Right where it seems like it went down. But it's dark and I cannot see through this water. And so I have no idea, quite frankly, even if we find a dustpan, the bottom of this like is a river walk. It's like a tiled, floor. Like, I don't think so. So, frankly, I have no idea, like, I don't know how we're going to find this shit, really. And I swear to God, y'all, this is the weirdest thing, whether it was the battery, going out, which is probably what it was, like it's a flashlight, and I want to emphasize, I'm fast forwarding a lot because I'm sitting there like, I'm to my friends, I'm like, look, I'm not going to take my fucking eye off of this location, So if you can go find some equipment to use to get this shit out of there, like, please go do so. And I'm going to stare right at this spot because like, I'm like a dog. I'm just like, nope, point. And there it is. Okay, I don't know where it is actually, but it's in this general, right where it fell into the water. And it might have floated a little bit in one direction, but it's metal, surely it just kind of sunk down for a moment. And so I'm just like, no, do not take my eyes off of this spot, whatever happens. Because if I even, to walk away for a minute, I come back, it's going to be like, oh no, shit, was it right over here? Was it like 2 feet over this way? And at that point, how are you going to use like a dustpan to get it out? And that's the main first thing that we're all worried about is that I'm trying to, I'm asking them, I'm like, can you go find a cop? And really, I'm serious. I'm like, can you go find a cop and kind of like get them down there or explain to them that like, I don't think it's technically like illegal or recommended. I don't want to be in this water. I'm not swimming in this water, but like there's one single thing that I need, and that is to get this fucking phone out, and I'm gonna get this fucking phone out, like, one way or another. It's like, no, do not admit to doing this, I was like, okay, well, I'm just telling you the truth, okay, I said, I'm more honest than all of you combined. Like, I knew no matter what happens, I'm not walking away without that goddamn cell phone, I'm so poor, let me put it that way, like, you projected all this privilege upon me, like, I paid for my own shit, I paid for this fucking phone, at the time. That's the thing, it's like, I'm not even saying that, I got a good deal on it, It wasn't even like, the brand new model or any of this kind of shit, right? It's like, I'm always buying like the model back, the model back, at least 1 or 2 models back, and that's what I did. And so that's the kind of thing, it's like, it's my own money, but, I paid for the insurance too, because, well, I can't be without a cell phone, and like, I'm not, quote, an Apple guy per se, like I said, for a long time. In fact, it's what's kind of weird. One of these friends in this situation who, I don't even want to guess what, quote, side he's ever been on, if I'm being honest. That's the truth. But like, he was a huge Mac OS person, and we always kind of argued in some ways, like in a lighthearted way. I was like, yeah, Mac OS is for, fucking losers, like you rich fuck, like, you just got a Mac, your parents just bought it for you, buy you expensive stuff all the time, mountain bikes and, other shit. And I'm not trying to talk shit about him, y'all. I'm just telling you the truth. It's like, you got to understand that a lot of my friends were like way, way wealthier than I was. And really, they have really nice cars. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes for sure. And never for a moment was I ever jealous or envious of that shit. What I'm trying to point out, y'all, is that like, well, a lot of people out there have kind of like projected all this like, quote, privilege and wealth upon me. And you don't seem to realize, like, it's all a facade. I've lacked for healthcare, and my family hasn't wanted to get hand-me-downs and everything. I paid for all my own shit. They've always been, quite frankly, I'm not trying to say that they were, evil towards me in terms of, well, consciously at the very least, y'all. But they diminished the fuck out of my, like, intellect. Always. Always. And when it gets to the point where I've been working in the software industry for years and I'm recognizing that my own family, it's not even that I need them. That's the thing. That's what they don't know, y'all. I think they think that I need their validation. And no, never for a moment. That's the thing. Like, I don't need them to sit and like validate, like, oh yeah, you think your job is cool? You like your job? Like, no, I'll be honest with y'all. Like, I know when my job is cool. I love my job. It's like really, really, really super technical. Like, even though I'm fucking slaving away for these people, I'm learning so much so fast. It's like a fucking data download of all data downloads. I just like plug my brain in and I'll work like a fucking slave. And wow, you could have just paid me. You could have just paid me like a reasonable goddamn wage. I was never even disgruntled about that, but like, better than anybody what a deal you have with me. You can ask me to do literally anything in this environment. You could ask me to be a developer for a day, and that would actually be very useful, like working with a senior dev, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, can you go be a dev today? And with this team, it's like, yeah, I just need to learn this language really quickly. It's like, oh, okay, data download, beep, 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 beep. Okay, I'm ready. Like, here we go. Let's get started, y'all. Okay, and then really though, that's the thing, y'all. It's like you give me somebody that's actually already working in that kind of stuff, and that's what's even better, right? Is I ask them all the right questions because I know what questions to ask, and so I'll just be like, wait, what's the syntax for this in this language? And they're like, oh, it's this, and it's like, okay, even faster data download, like that's what's so cool, yo. There's other people like me in that way. Don't get me wrong. That's what I'm saying, though. In some ways, it does have to do with being on the autism spectrum, and look how terrible that is. Like, I've been conscious of that for such a long time, and I just never, to be honest, in some ways, y'all, was never trying to keep it, was never trying to keep it secret. But look at that, being conscious of the fact that even if you're saying that word, right? Even if you're saying that word, people will be like, oh yeah, you think you're autistic. Well, I knew a guy in school and it's like, okay, that's a problem. All of you go, I'm also the person that like a logician, y'all, that I'm always like, okay, we need to stop going off of our anecdotal experiences, so much, like, for real, because all of us, like, we tend to gravitate towards just like the one thing that we've ever heard about certain stuff, and it's like, yo, it's actually genuinely kind of a problem, quite frankly, like in this situation, people may not understand, why I'm building this multi-stream solution. They probably didn't understand like what it really even means when I said multi-streaming. And so now I'm like, okay, multi-streaming, like, well, technically what I'm doing is I'm streaming multiple locations at the same time. Like the idea was that you can, switch, you can basically be your own director. And like, I wasn't even trying to be my own director, but it's kind of a cool concept in a way if you think about it. Like that's what streamers are doing, right? And I'm kind of just I'm like the IT guy for like all of this streamers in the world, like, and that's kind of what I was trying to make sure people understood. It's like, when I say I want to do my own podcast, it's like, sure, it's always nice to have help and good people to work with, but I'm also, to be honest with you, y'all, there's no IT guy that I won't be able to, even if they know more about specific tools. Let me emphasize that, y'all. That's what I'm saying, is that I'll be the first person to consciously acknowledge, right? There's people that know more about OBS than me. This is the first time I've ever even used OBS, y'all. There's so many people that know more about Twitch than me. This is the first time I've ever even used Twitch. Like I've clicked on some, Twitch streams here and there, like that's what I'm saying, when I keep up with like different forms of social media and how people work, it's like, what I'm saying is that I'm getting, a general lay of the land. I want to understand, like, what are people using this platform for? What's it about? And I realized very early on, like, oh, this is not just video games. And that's what I love, actually. This is not just video games. This is something brand new, right? I'm seeing, well, and that's the thing, y'all, I'll be honest, like, I'm seeing all kinds of, interesting ideas from different people. That's what I love, is that you never even know what people are going to come up with next. Right? And that's a part of like what we should embrace as human beings, is that one another's, ingenuity and creativity, that kind of like engineering aspect of who we are, that we actually maintain our creativity, really, that we encourage that with one another, and we see it, we sort of like, that's the thing, we don't want to steal one another's, like, oh, wow, that's a really, good idea. And that's the thing, am I copywriting anything? Am I doing this? No, y'all, this is like, what I'm saying is, the way that my whole worldview is, it's like, knowledge and thought and ideas, really, that, in and of itself, that should be free to the world. you know, the root level logic, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. When I'm seeing that concept even alone, that's what I need to explain to everybody about what I was seeing with this that bothered me so deeply, y'all, is that they're abusing this idea of the root level logic in the family. And they're kind of like, we're going to seed this root level logic really sneakily and covertly with so many people. We're going to literally, y'all, they're like, we're going to consciously brainwash them without them even knowing. And I'm like, damn, that, you know, it's a little bit of a gut punch even just recognizing that, y'all. Because I'm like, man, there's so many innocent people, quite frankly, that they just don't know. They don't even know, and that's the thing, yo. I'm saying they don't know when I don't even know what all that this organization is up to at that point, you understand? And still to this day, I can't claim, of course. Yeah, I'll be the first to point out as a logician, y'all. It's just like we never know what we don't know. I can't tell you all of the fucking terrible things these people have done, but they've done so much more than a few terrible things is my point, that I'm at the point where as a logician, I'm like, it doesn't matter if you want to try to defend them. It's actually not okay at all, and it's never going to be. It's already too late, y'all. It's actually already too late. They're not like the long arm of the law, y'all. They're like the long arm of the far right communist fucking regime. And that's the worst part, is that when I see, you know, law enforcement unwittingly, you know, I know that you people don't want to be communists, right? But that root level logic has been seeded up in your brains. Like, oh no, it's just like a Christian group. Yeah, and then I'm seeing like, you know, the culture wars, like Ron DeSantis is waging war. Ron DeSantis, a member of the family, is openly waging war on, you know, fucking like Disney World. Like, oh my God, you know, what reality did we step into? Like, you know, I grew up in a world, my mom loved Disney so much, y'all. And now, you know, that's one of the hardest parts for me. Speaking of that, y'all, never wanted to talk about family, but, you know, we never visited. I was actually, you know, one of my biggest stressors, yo. I was, okay? Maybe is that one way to put it? I was stressed out, you know, when we moved down to Texas. I just, you know, I didn't want to tell my family that, you know, we can't go be in a place where they want to be. And I wasn't mad. I love Texas, but I just had so many friends here. And I really, you know, in a way, it's like I'm you know, it's between 6th and 7th grade. And really, I'm like, you know, I wanted to go to high school here, and if I'm being honest, like I really, you know, wanted to maintain my friends and my you know, well, how do I put it, y'all? It's like I didn't want to have to make all of my friends again, you know. It's like they're irreplaceable to me, and then I'm recognizing it's like, man, I'm not gonna even be able to like keep up with you just calling and texting you, maybe sending some letters, like. And then what am I supposed to say, you know? And that's the thing. It's so difficult for me. I don't even know. I'm not mad about it, right? And that's the consciousness with which that, you know, I'm already, you know, I'm 12, turning 13 this summer that we're moving, right? And I remember walking up and down that moving ramp just like thinking like I always am, you know, not in a weird way, not in a mentally ill way. I'm not ruminating. I'm just contemplating, right? And I'm trying to decide, you know, like, because I can't even, you know, do anything. I was actually very honest as with my family as well. I was like, I'll be honest, I think all of you want to move. You know, my oldest brother was going to college in Texas, and my other brother, you know, he was just kind of shy in a way. Like, I think he was more open to it. He did have friends here, don't get me wrong, you know, and I would always give credit to that. But I think at the time where he was at, you know, in a way, like, he really was more okay with moving than I was, but, you know, it was just all a mixed bag, right? My sister was really young, you know, honestly, I think that when we had, you know, that's the thing, all of us knew that we did have family down in Texas that we loved so much, and so that was a part of it. All of our family was from Pennsylvania, and that was kind of like our roots here for a long time, because, you know, we would go up and visit them, and, you know, there are still some really important things for us in York especially, like, and that's the thing, like, when it comes down to it, it's actually really just kind of difficult for me thinking back upon it, because I wasn't mad. And I really just was like, okay, well, this is the first time I've moved in my life, and a lot of people deal with moving, so I'm not trying to, you know, that's the thing, y'all. It's like everybody, some people, and again, speaking of military, and the move after move after move, that's tough. this like I cannot even imagine sometimes, that this is really, really genuinely difficult. You just go from community to community to community, and you want to believe like, yeah, you make friends quickly and it's really easy, but it's actually, it is challenging. For me, that's the thing too. Like, speaking of consciousness, I go from a school that is in total, first through sixth grade, it's around 300 people to, just my grade. Just my grade is around in the range of 300 people, right? And what, like, wow, what a sea change if there ever were one, and I wasn't even so scared. That's the honest to God truth, y'all. It's just, I'm like, wow, brand new environment. And that's the thing. Immediately, I'm like, I'm not even somebody that's like, oh, and identify this culture. Like, I'm like young, I'm 13 when I'm starting in 7th grade. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it is different. Like, where there's all white people. Like, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, y'all, crawl. Like, I'm a white dude, right? But I'm just like, okay, this is like not a very, I guess it's very homogenous as soon as you get there. Like, did I know that word back then? I'll be honest, yes, I did. Yes, I did, y'all. Like, quite frankly, that's one of the things that I don't think, anyone in my social group had ever, in all fairness, how could they give credence to that? A lot of them grew up. Really, like a lot of my closest friends, they were right there from that community, and they always, in fact, in a lot of ways, they were always proud of that. Like, yeah, I was born and raised here. I've been here. I'm not, trying to put a heavier accent in their mouth, but I'm saying the social aspects of a lot of this, y'all, that's very, very relevant. And why is that? That's the exact kind of stuff that this organization, in some ways, takes advantage of, y'all. That's what I'm saying. And that's what hurts my, feelings so much, to have to talk about it when I know, and I'm not going to say names, right? But I said a public website. Well, that should be, a little bit of like, for anybody, y'all, right? Because why do I even keep saying that? Because the whole even root level logic on this rides upon you people thinking that nobody's ever going to know. Nobody's ever going to know. Look how many of you have accurately, even on Twitter, all right, John Cornyn, Ted Cruz, Greg Abbott, Josh Hawley, Ken Paxton. I could sit on Twitter right now and very accurately, this person and this person and this person and this person, and you're like, no, that's not fair. What if you're wrong, Dinesh D'Souza? Right? I'm not kidding, y'all. Like, oh my Lord, the list can go on and on and on and on. And that's what I'm wanting everyone to understand, is that I could do that today. There's one thing, y'all, is like, a domain costs a little bit of money. I don't even need it to be, well, let's say, okay, talking about, cloud hosting, y'all, I can write this website where it is the lightest, is literally just a text list. Okay, a VM with probably 1 gigabyte of RAM and 1 core is more than ample. But is it more than ample for a bunch of traffic? No. What the point is, the list is not something that there's going to be like, oh, go look up this website, then you deploy it on Twitch. Like, no, the point of the list is that it's on, it's on the public web. Anybody that so wanted to, right? And part of this is that you people need to understand how the internet works. Like, really, y'all, I'm not kidding. Just like the family goes out there and they want to clean anything off the internet that's about them, and they really do that in real life, y'all. They pay people in other companies. This is very common in this day and age. They'll actually go out there and they'll try to clean off anything that is, it reflects upon them poorly, right? For anybody that studies like data science, for example, you're familiar with web crawlers, right? I'm the kind of person that can write web crawlers, y'all. Do I need to do a little bit of research as I go? Yes, as I go. That's what you need to understand there, y'all. The skills that I've collected in my technical career, that's exactly how everyone that, really wants to learn about tech and get better should be approaching everything. Stop trying to learn all of the perfect skills and start making sure you know how to learn what you need to learn to do things quickly and accurately and precisely. And that's the point, y'all. It's like these days, we can argue about, okay, well, for, an exam or for this kind of stuff, you got to have this in memory. And the thing is, then you go into the software industry, y'all, and really it's like everybody's like, okay, Google that, Google this. Oh, we're in the middle of writing something. We've been working on this for 6 hours. We've done how many queries today? I'm not kidding, y'all. This is actually kind of like, this could be a case study in and of itself. In fact, maybe I'll do a live stream about like Google and software engineering and development, y'all. It's like, it's a part of the process. I'm not trying to encourage anybody to not learn or memorize information in any way. What I'm saying is that y'all, computer science professors really should be, making sure they explain this to people as they go. And to be honest, in all fairness, some of the ones I had that were really good, and I'm not trying to say names, is my point. I never wanted to for a moment, but like they acknowledge that, it's not actually about the memorization. There are certain data structures and concepts and, underlying logic that you do need to have in the brain permanently. But then beyond that, that's kind of the point, is that there's no, simple black and white, like here's the things you do memorize. Everybody, I think in this day and age, that's kind of part of the problem, we're not going to be spoon-fed, you know what I mean? Like, and that's part of what you're kind of taking to heart in your sentiment when you're learning this kind of stuff, is that, well, you got to kind of approach it more with like courage, and like you're going to jump out there, like this is the universe, it's space, and you're going to go like way out in there, and you're just like, wow, and some of this may be extraneous, or it may seem extraneous right now, but really, like you're just kind of like going out, and I want to say the word probe, to be honest, because that's what applies accurately, like we say the Voyager probe, it's kind of the whole point of the name in a lot of ways, encouraging people to actually think. The only reason I don't want to say the word probe is because these people's fucking, neuroticism and, disgusting projection. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. These people are into a bunch of weird, straight up sex shit, and yet they project upon me like motherfuckers. That's what I'm saying. Alright, so just on that note, like 18 plus only, trigger warning. I will keep repeating. It's in the title of everything. Everything's marked as mature and only, 18 plus only. And that's the thing, I never really was wanting to make, content for, quote kids in any way. When I'm making educational content, I think it's unfair even for me to not self-censor if I must, right? I have no problem with being able to not say the F word, let me emphasize that, okay? My family can try to call me duplicitous all they want, but that's a load of fucking bullshit, Obviously, you're not gonna sit there dropping the F-bomb in front of your parents, but, I'll be honest, like, I'm a human being, just like so many people in this society, and quite frankly, so many of these people, so many of you down in Texas, you've called me a fucking retard, and you've sat around slinging all this hate speech, just like with reckless abandon, and then you expect me, that's the thing, I say double-edged sword. I'm not giving into your bullshit. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm sitting here, using all of my intellect and every single bit of intelligence I have to make sure that you're damn certain, to make sure that you're fucking completely understanding how bigoted and terrible some of you have really been to me in real life, and no, you have not ever been on the, quote, right side of history. So part of what I'm explaining with this, it's also a technical portfolio, you know, because for a long time I've already been building my website, which, you know, that's the thing. Speaking of websites, I mean, it takes me virtually nothing to get a website deployed, y'all, and, you know, to host my own website, and with any number of services to self-host a website on, you know, my own hardware if necessary, on well, any servers, quite frankly. You know, that's kind of what I've been explaining over and over and over again. You have someone that understands all of it, all right? And I'm not some sketchy dude. That's the point, is that really, you know, especially in the bigger picture, that's part of what I've been trying to explain, y'all. You know, like, I'm not a fanboy, quote, of, you know, anybody. You know, I'm blind fanboy, but, you know, I'm a real capitalist. So how do I put this best? Part of the reason I'm doing a technical portfolio is that I want to communicate. I'm not really looking for the, quote, best deal, as in, like, well, I'm asking people to understand money is not the primary motivator for me. I'm looking for who can offer me the most fair deal when it comes to a lot of this kind of stuff. A fair deal, right? That they'll be respectful of, well, this unfiltered, you know, brand, podcast, you know, artistic aspect of who I am in this day and age. Everyone is allowed to do what? You know, kind of have their own. If they want to create a platform brand new, then they're allowed to do that. And there's always, you know, I'm willing to make, you know, some consolations in terms of NDAs, those kind of things. That's part of business. But see, that's the balance even in a business. Like, I'll help you know, with that conversation. What is fair about NDAs? What's fair about intellectual property? What's fair about, you know, what's actually fair, right? We've got legislation that lags behind technology always. Just like it kind of does with so many aspects of our world in some ways. Legislation always has to kind of catch up. Technology moves so quickly. When I'm looking at a service like GCP, I'm comparing it to what I know about, you know, AWS. I'm comparing it to what I know about, you know, Azure Cloud, right? And I've not used, of the three, I've used Azure Cloud the least, right? And I'll be the first to say that. But I'll be honest with you, y'all, all of them, you know, they look at one another and they're kind of like, okay, comparable options. They're not copying off of one another, right? That's the point. But they're capitalists, just like me. So I'm a capitalist through and through. I'm not trying to sell a product so much as I am trying to explain the root level logic, that I'm a good person, and that the honest to God truth is I believe the best technology, you know, it comes from people that are not really in it for the money, right? Steve Wozniak, in my opinion, he was not in it for the money. That's part of the whole story, right? He was in it because he's a technologist and he knows what he's talking about. He's a real engineer, kind of like Linus Torvalds, right? And I mean it, y'all. It's like, look at some of these minds that, you know, whether or not people know it right now or want to take my word for it is kind of beside the point, right? Talking about root level logic, you know, these minds, they're like, no, technology, and it's more important, you know, in a lot of ways than, and I'm sorry, Torvalds, right? Or it really is, it's more important than, you know, just like making money, right? Linus could have tried to make everything more, you know, proprietary and only, you know, for him and his personal benefit. And that's the thing, you know, it's like, wow, we wouldn't have the world that we do right now with the internet had that really been the case. I mean it. Whether or not everyone understands that, you know, it's like, it's so important for us to all look at, well, what does open source even mean? And that's what I appreciate, y'all. And let me emphasize, a company like Google has been embracing this concept for a while, quite a while, right? You know, they build technologies like Chromium, right? And part of the benefit, y'all, I mean, there's capitalistic incentive combined with doing the right thing. Now Microsoft is able to use Chromium as an underlying for Microsoft Edge, right? And they're realizing that, well, for security and for performance, this really benefits, right? For their own browser, and everybody gives Edge a bunch of shit. You know, I'm not advocating for any browser over another, y'all. That's kind of what I'm saying in the root level logic. Instead of, you know, approaching things like we should always, you know, one is better than the other. What's the best one? Whether it's with operating systems or specific tools, right? It's not that the free option is always better. It's not that the paid option is always better. It's always kind of somewhere in between. And this is right at the heart of that, right? Open source is something that, well, Chrome itself is not technically open source, right? Chromium, which you can run, it is open source. Edge itself is not technically open source, right? But Chromium underneath it all is open source. Firefox is, it's kind of open source, right? But that's the thing. Something like LibreWolf, which is brand new to me, I'm just like, really, I'm the kind of person that I'm not installing it for any reason other than like, oh, okay, this is interesting. It is a different, a different flavor, just like Linux distributions, which is part of what I'm going to talk about in live streams, because it's a really, in some ways on the surface it seems really complicated, but it's also not at the same time. You see all these different even within Linux, right? Even just what, really your user interface looks like. You've got things like GNOME, and then you've got, elitists about it. Like, the Arch Linux folks are like, no, only Arch Linux is the best. Some of you know exactly what I'm saying out there. Some of you are like, what is Arch Linux? like, and that's my point, y'all, is like, I'm serious. I'm not trying to sound like the world's expert in anything, but like, you got to understand, like, I've always been very, very conscious, and, and I not only learned from the internet, but like really word of mouth has always been a really excellent way for me to learn, to be honest with you. And that's kind of the thing, y'all. I've had so many long, in-depth conversations in my lifetime. I've always been I'm not quiet, I'm private, and I'm a little bit reserved. And goodness, speaking of these people, that's their whole thing. They're like, we don't got, nothing to hide. See, I actually don't have anything to hide. Unlike some of these people, y'all, they're like, I'm not even trying to be mean to this man, It's just in that interview in the documentary, even, like, he knows it's going out public, and he's like, we don't got any, like, secrets, there's no, like, conspiracies, like, we're just, like, really private, nobody talks about, quote, the family. Like, why does nobody talk about the family, sir? It's like, because we're just we value, our privacy. That's all. It's like, we don't have any, conspiracies. Like, definitely none of those going on around here. Yeah, no. We're just private. Like, really, that's the dichotomy and the paradox in some ways. Like, I'm actually just private for safety and for, being mindful, like, of my statements. And that's the thing, like, they knew that better than anybody. And, to be honest with you, that's part of the reason why they sought to own me, is because they're like, we need to make sure that he doesn't squeal or squeak if he ever chose to do so. And, like, that's the thing, I'm not even a squeaker, like, squeak. No, it's like, to be honest with you, privately, I would have always been like, hey, this is, kind of a safety risk for everybody. I didn't even, like, to be honest with you, that's the thing. I'm like, investigations in 2012. Well, I'm a human being. Y'all got other things going on, and it's not like all I'm doing is like, I gotta look up the family, like how many churches, how many people are implicated in this, how many people are compromised, and that, you gotta understand that's what's so difficult about it for me. I'm not, wanting to look at my own family members or, and quote, look at, okay, I'm not spying on them. I've never, quote, hacked anybody, right? That's what I'm saying. Even then, as their IT guy, I was not ever pulling anything on them. But see, for the rest of my life and being part of this organization, they'll probably never trust me again. And that's what some of you need to understand. This is really what they're saying, and we'll get to the videos of Doug Coe, but this is really what they're saying way back when. This is more important than your actual family. You got to put this above your family, like the gangs, the violent gangs of Los Angeles. And look at the irony, y'all. You're like, yeah, fucking Disney. Disney's like, okay, the world is changing. We're openly, we don't want to hate people for their personal choices, which we cannot control. No, Disney, I'm just like, no, y'all don't speak for anybody, but like, no, in no way, in a Buzz Lightyear, if there's, some differing ideas about, family, for example, y'all, that's what's so weird to me, is that in some ways what they're communicating is like, stop hating people's families. Really, y'all. Because there are families, good families, and okay, they happen to be, homosexual, all right? Can you get over it for a moment? You don't get to control other people. There's good families, all right? There are men and women who have been raised by, two dads and two moms, and they're out there in this world, y'all. Some of them are military. some of them are law enforcement, some of them are government employees, yo. Like, you gotta kind of get over yourselves acting like, oh, this pussification of the military because we're trying to not be hateful bigots. Like what in the world, yo? That's the opposite of pussifying our military. It's like actually kind of the most badass thing in the world. You know, the military itself being like, you know what? We have values in this country, and those values supersede, you know, personal opinions. You know, it's actually like the most fundamental aspect of, you know, being an American, quite frankly, yo, is like we are what? We for a long time historically, yo, you know, we're like communism is bad, communism is bad, communism is bad. And I'll be honest, y'all, I think most people still feel that way. It's just kind of difficult when, to be honest with you, it's like, oh wait, communism is this thing that we thought was like a church group, but they're secretly like straight up communists, serving communist, you know, regimes that are our enemies. Okay. And so then we have like what, a major communication challenge at the end of the day, yo. We actually do when it comes down to it. It's like, okay, let's address the nuance. All right, we're all gonna sit around and like be a terrible person to this one dude for a really long time on behalf of, you know, this fucking mafia, acting like they're saving him when they set him up. Literally, they committed crime, and that's what's so dark about it, y'all. You know, it started with some crime that was bad, fucking bad, and then they're like, oh no, that didn't work, okay, fucking escalate, fucking, and it's not funny is my point, yo. That's what's like, for me, it's fucking torture, because you put me in a spot where there's so many people who hate my guts, and they don't even realize what's really been going on, and then from the beginning, it's like, no, accuse him of being a, quote, schizo, accuse him of being, quote, a liar, accuse him of being, quote, you know, everything under the fucking sun at this point, yo. It's like, there's no, you know, no morals, no bars, really, I'm not kidding. It's like, and it really is not an exaggeration, y'all. These people didn't even want me to be able to have a fucking relationship, and I wasn't even mad about that. I will be voluntarily celibate as long as and I'm serious, I'm voluntarily celibate as long as I need to be. I'm not even wanting or needing to have sex, you know. I'll be honest with you, an authentic conversation. These people with fucking militarized spyware on my phone, they don't even want me to be able to talk to a single fucking human being in my life and they not record it. That's how fucking obsessive, that's how fucking sick they are. That's how fucking sick they literally are in real life. They sit around and act like, yeah, no, we just value our privacy. But this guy, no, he's not even allowed to talk to his own actual family. He's not even allowed to talk to his own actual friends. Even if he's just like, hey, how's it going? You know, like, let's play some Xbox, you know, like for like, wow, it's such an uneventful thing, you know, like all, you know, really, I played Halo mostly to keep up with friends. Yeah, you know, primarily the only reason I ever played Call of Duty in the past was I wasn't, you know, some huge Call of Duty fan, to be honest with you. It was just like, well, you know, frankly, like, Call of Duty, you know, okay, you guys play it, okay, I'll go buy it used, and then, like, there you go. It's like, it's like, it's not, you know, the funnest thing ever in the world for me personally, necessarily. Like, I had fun with it, especially with friends, you know, here and there. But, you know, that's the thing, you know, I'm just kind of like, you know, video games, very subjective opinions. Speaking of, you know, people try to act like they're not even, quote, art, and that's so offensive. There's so many, you know, artists and designers and engineers, you know, that work diligently for years and years and years to release these, you know, speaking of capitalism, you know, go check out, you know, video games and their market share of, you know, even $1 spent on entertainment. Go look at what happened during this pandemic, right? Did everybody suddenly become, you know, video game addicts? Like, no. And look at the situation. Everybody's in lockdown. Like, what do you expect them to spend their time doing in a lot of ways, yo? And that's what's terrible is like, you know, I'm playing some Halo and then really, but literally just like right now even, you know, I'm documenting where I'm at. I'm documenting what I'm actually doing. You know, I'm also, you know, like, wow, these people, you know, quite frankly, they're trying to prevent me from even being able to have a fucking single human conversation. All sitting around just like torturing the fuck out of me, acting like it's okay, acting like any of you are not being like really harmful and terrible to perceptions around mental health care and psychiatry, when that's exactly what you're doing, yo. And now I've got videos that will be public forever about, well, this organization, seriously, they consciously lied. they fucking committed crime in the first place. Working with people, in some cases, you know, contractors internationally that were also members of the family, and they're like, yeah, this is perfect, look at that. No, that's not a coincidence, quote. Yeah, no, it just happens to, he doesn't even know, y'all. Yeah, we got him. Like, I'm calling, you know, Marcos my, quote, guardian angel, not because he's actually guarding me and protecting me, y'all. Like, are you that fucking dumb? I'm calling him that because, well, he's telling me immediately when he's contacting me randomly, and he's like, oh yeah, and y'all, I'm not even gonna repeat the conversation, y'all, but what is he actually telling? He's signaling to me, not intentionally, and that's the worst part, y'all. He's signaling to me, very trying to, you know, keep it, you know, completely under wraps, like he's recording me, or at the very least we're both being recorded, and he knows it, and that's what I'm saying, y'all. It's like, you may not understand this right now, Marcos, but you're like my guardian angel, even if Marcos is really being like a fucking dark angel, y'all. Like a fucking dark angel serving the enemy, and he doesn't even know it himself. That is, honestly, I stand by that assertion, y'all. I don't need to have sex. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know what, you can live. You know, like, yeah, okay, that's true. Okay, let's go down that list, though, for a moment of what these people have fucking sat around saying about me, y'all, because it's like, yeah, you can live without some sex or, you know, intimacy, or, okay, like, that's true. I can live without that. I will voluntarily live without that, y'all, you know, like, and speaking of intimacy, you know, cuddling has always been more important to me than ever fucking having sex, you know, or, like, just hanging out on the couch, for example, you know, watching a movie, or, you know, even it's like, okay, you got work to do, sit on your laptop, I'll sit on mine, you know, just together, like, sharing time, being human beings, you know, even if we're on a computer together there, like, look how weird that is in a way, y'all. I'm openly saying, it's like, it's a part of our world, you know. I'll be honest, that's one of the things, speaking of balance and nuance, is like, you know, any job, you have to have some degree of work-life balance. Like, Jesus Christ, yo, you know, I was trying to be fair, you know, to the bigger picture, but, like, you have no idea, so many of you would have fucking hated. Like, you talk about disgruntled, I wasn't even disgruntled. You would have been so fucking mad at the way that people treated you. Because they were fucking terrible, some of them. Some of them without even knowing. They were so fucking terrible to me, and I wasn't mad at them about it. They're just like, hey, I need you to do this for me. Hey, I need you. It's like, oh my God, you don't, you know, you see me posting, for example, right now about a production outage. You're just like, no, I need this right now. It's like, okay, wait a second. Like, you know that there's no one else right now that's going to fix this shit. All right, I'm more than happy to help you with your, I'm not even going to say specifics, right? I don't even like to talk about it, y'all, but that's what's so terrible. Is like, if we have to get specific, the more specific that we get, the worse that it's going to get for anyone and everyone that was like, no, you had such like a, oh, Michael got you that. No, Michael didn't fucking get me anything. Michael wanted to smoke weed and be, you know, out of the eye of his aunt and uncle when he's sneaking around their house, drinking all their alcohol from their live-in bar, and fucking, you know, smoking all the time. He's straight up drug addict, y'all. That's kind of the problem. He was openly saying that himself. He was an alcoholic, like a severe alcoholic. You know, you go look at his purchase history, for example, y'all. I mean, the dude was going up and buying entire handles of whiskey and vodka, and he's just like, in one day, one night, that's what he's talking about, y'all. It's like he's getting blackout drunk playing video games. And then he's doing it again the next day. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. It's always objectively a positive influence on this man. You know, we're human beings. Like, that's true. But at the same time, y'all, it's ridiculous that I make a legal recording on this iPhone, Voyager 2, and you people are like, yeah, no, we gotta fucking destroy that iPhone, yo, because our, quote, surveillance apparatus has revealed that our super conscious fucking public corruption is not gonna work because of one single recording that man made. One recording when I go up to see Michael in Cedar Park, yo. And damn, you know, I'm not even mad at all, but like, wow, this is a nice apartment. This is a, you know, it's less crowded, you know, it's like actually a decent place to live, you know, how good for you, sir. I'm not even mad. Not even mad. Like, it's actually really decent, you know. Like, he was just living at Remington House Apartments, y'all, buying narcotics from, you know, fucking gang members right there for a long time. And then in the middle of this, he's suddenly, you know, visiting one of them in prison, or jail, sorry. And it's, like, so ridiculous, y'all, the whole thing. Like, to not be concerned about that shit. For example, like sudden change of character out of nowhere, sudden change of politics. He's suddenly on the far right when he's been so far left. And I don't give a fuck if any of you believe that, y'all. That's part of what's so frustrating. I had people from Canada, they're like, oh no, you're being like a bad influence on Michael. And it's like, I'm not mad at everyone in Canada, y'all. I'm saying, like, some people up in Saskatchewan, that's all I'll say. They're like, oh, you're like a bad influence on Michael, driving around your quote mom's car. And it's like, you fucking psychopaths. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Like, to even say that shit about me when Michael has gotten, a free fucking hundreds of dollars a month in an allowance for years. The car was just bought and handed to him. At one point his dad's like, it's like, yeah, you take care of your own stuff now, but like, still happy to, send him money literally anytime he needs it, literally anytime. And I've never been that way with my family or my parents, y'all. That's the thing. Like, for you to put all of us under this fucking electron microscope, and my own family doesn't even know that they're being lied to by you straight up fucking psychopaths. And that's the thing, is like, obviously not all, but some, actual relatives of mine are members of the family, and I always knew that. But see, my parents, that's one of the things that makes me so sad. And I was getting to this earlier. When we first came back to visit the Northeast, it was because of my grandfather who lived in this house, who built this house, had passed away the first time. Like, wow. What a thing, y'all. Because what I want to say to my family up here when I get here is, like, I've missed you. And I'm actually really sad that I haven't had the money. I don't have an ability to snap my fingers and, get an airplane ticket. I've wanted to see you. I wanted to see my friends. And it made me so sad, to see one of my friends. And I just wish I could have given him so much information from my brain. Because, like, man, he sat down with me at this McDonald's that my mom used to bring me to all the time, and my cousin actually helps me go there. And I just remember he said to me, and it was like, God, I'm not mad at all, because he's right. He's like, you just kind of disappeared, man. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I really did. I just disappeared, and trust me, it was the hardest thing in the world for me at the time. So you were my best friend, and I didn't even have a way to really, I'm open and honest when I say I wanted to call more, I wanted to text more. Part of the problem with, for that to me was just like, I can't, there's nothing I can say to really, like, maintain friendship across this distance. There's no, what are we going to do? You'd say that maybe play Xbox or those kind of things here and there, and I've always wanted to, open those doors back up, but that's what's so challenging, it's this man in particular, I'm not going to speak for him, but I knew, we were really close friends, and, like, it's a good guy, such a good man, through and through. And he and his brother are both there, and it's like, and in a way, I think, his younger brother always looked up at both of us just a little bit. I'm not speaking for him, right? But it's natural in a way. I looked up to my brothers just a little bit, right? And maybe at times, like, more than a little bit, but also I recognize the nuance. We're different, and there are things about us that are fundamentally different. From a really young age, I knew that, y'all. And I'm serious, like, it's never been some huge thing to me. I really do mean this, but, like, there's kind of a reason. A lot of my platonic friends, before this best friend even, when I was going to school here, they were all female. And, like, I think that was the thing, is my brothers, I always had male friends, built in with my two brothers. We hang out, and, we'd make up games and, make up entire storylines with Legos. We build, armadas of spaceships, and, it's like, I'm always the one, though, I'm like, hey, what if we did this? And they're like, no, that's fucking stupid. Why would you want to, that part of the story, that'd be so lame. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought it was kind of cool, but, it's like, whatever, you gotta understand all that kind of stuff. I'm not even mad at them. I'm just like, okay, well, you don't really care about my opinion, clearly. Like, I'm not even mad, like I'm conscious, like whatever. I think there's some, you kind of just want to be the ones that are always, calling the shots, like this kind of stuff. And, with my friends who were female, it was not that way. It was like, hey, what if we do this? And it's like, yeah, that's a cool idea, like that's a cool part of the storyline. We're playing the same way, y'all. And that was so innocent, genuinely. Like, we were platonic friends through and through. It's not some weird or creepy thing. And I really mean that. That's one of the most difficult parts. I feel like we live in a day and age where it's like, you're not even allowed to have platonic female friends anymore. Like, why? Because, like, what? Speaking of, the over-sexualization of our society, I think that's part of the problem, y'all, is that, to be honest with you, these people, like, they throw the rock and they hide their hand. They're actually, like, really fucking creepy and weird, a lot of them, and, like, in the shadows, they're, like, up to the most, like, disgusting kind of shit, and then they're out there, like, yeah, now Hollywood, the violent gangs of Los Angeles that we're openly embracing, like, we're the same exact concepts, like, now you don't fucking snitch on the gang, now, we are the fucking gang, don't you say it, you little fucking bitch. Yeah, I'm calling you a quote schizo when I'm sitting here looking at you and I know you're not a schizo, but that's exactly what I don't want other people to know, so I'm gonna stalk you like you're a fucking exotic animal, so I'm gonna smoke cigarettes like a goddamn chimney, trying to just fuck you up, so I'm gonna cut the power to your fucking apartment when you're not even ready to go yet. You just grabbed your keys and you're like getting ready to go out the door, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, why did the power go off all of a sudden? Did we have another outage on it? Wait, there's not a winter storm going on right now. Like, I know, yo, that's the thing, is like, it's not a laughing matter in a way, but like, that's also what's so fucking difficult, yo, like, this straight up bizarre fucking reality of like, oh my god, Clay is just walking around the corner and he's cutting the goddamn power off, trying to get my cameras so that these, like, I'm sitting here telling them, go through everything that you need to, but like, you just won't even fucking accept that there's nothing here for you at the end of the day at the same time. There's a limitation, when I'm working with, IP that is federally protected, I'm also like, with these people, like, they don't give a fuck. And honestly, they don't have any plausible deniability that that they don't know that. So then I'm like, okay, now I got to investigate. If they don't have any plausible deniability that they don't know that, then are they doing this shit on purpose? And trust me, y'all, that is not even a question that ever did I want to ask for a moment. But that's a question that I've now answered irrefutably. Whether or not any of you believe me is completely fucking not up to you. They were doing that shit on purpose, y'all. They actually were doing that shit on purpose. And that's what really fucking gets me, is like, some of you just don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You actually don't, y'all. And you've sat there, and I'll be honest, y'all, they've abused that against you. They've abused that against me. This is the last thing on the planet Earth that they ever wanted to happen, is that I just publicly tell the truth about this shit. This article was not just kind of sort of so relevant in this situation, y'all. And it's not about, trying to make this man sound like he's amazing or perfect, just like me, y'all. Like, the reality is, I'm not even wanting to compare the two of us, but when I read this article the first time, I was just like, oh my Jesus Christ Lord, literally, like, this is so directly relevant. And to be honest with you, y'all, like, so is this. And like, wow, that is actually such a difficult fucking position to be in. I've got to use all of these, like, strange seeming, but not really that strange, methods of communication, like, put this out into the public consciousness and the public sphere, like, make sure that everyone is really on the same exact page about what these people are trying to do. And it gives me so much information when I send this article in a group text, and really, they're just triggered as fuck. Like, well, I'm not even saying all of them, but Michael in particular is just like, well, I'm like, hey, could you all listen to this, please? It's like your friend that you've known for decades and decades and decades. He's a good guy. It's like, no, I'll never listen to one fucking podcast that you didn't even make from a reputable source that's like really good information about, how law enforcement sometimes, and I'm trying to emphasize the sometimes, right? I'm always trying to be fair and the nuance, like, okay, well, there's some misunderstanding here, right? But then you get to a point where it's like, well, where is that line between misunderstanding and knowing very consciously, like, no, this is not a criminal in any way, shape, or form, and that's the point, yo. This man is not a criminal in any way, just like me, and yet you're kind of like, no, but you make some music, and, well, you know, like, we're podcasting, some alien voices we stole from you, we took the filters off, and we're trying to say you're all scary and evil, because, like, we're treating it like it's straight up a war, and some of you don't even realize how terrible that is, when then there's elements of our actual national security involved, and you're just kind of like, oh, wait a minute, do you have any plausible deniability that you weren't trying to help the Russians? And that's the point, y'all. That's what gets so fucking despicably evil, is that at this point, many of you have no plausible deniability that you were not actually trying to help the Russians, y'all. And really, you're like, oh, wow, you know, now you left that job. And that's the thing I'm saying to my brother. It's like, trust me, I'm not trying to, you know, keep a job. Like, oh, yeah, the intellectual property, federal, you know, whatever. Like, no. What I'm saying is, like, my brother didn't even have a fucking clue. Like, get a fucking clue. He had no idea about any of this shit, you know? It's like, this is what bothers me so much. I come back from another state and I'm just like, yeah, the weather is amazing for my health. And it is the weather, y'all. It's the weather. I'm an outdoorsy person. You know, I've always wanted to, you know, hike more than I have. Even in Austin, it's a big part of the reason I moved there. And look how terrible that is. Have I ever really gotten to, you know, like, hike around Austin or, like, explore the trails a lot? Like, no. But see, that's what's also terrible about this narrative now, especially. It's like, nobody will ever, you know, I'm not saying ever, y'all. This will be cleared up. But I'm saying, like, especially in that context, like, Jesus, I can't even go for a standard fucking run in one park that I always go to. You people are like, you know, you're like, oh, now we gotta, you know, develop the pattern of this guy's behavior. And that's what, you know, oh, I don't even want to keep saying names, y'all, but that's what Clay keeps spitting in my face, essentially, is like, you people are hunting me like I'm a fucking animal, like I'm a fucking exotic goddamn animal, and I'm not an exotic anything, y'all. That's what bothers me so much. It's like, you never have had a, quote, target here for a moment, and you're just like, no, we're gonna torture the fuck out of it and defame the fuck out of it so illegally and so immorally that no one is ever even gonna trust it again. And then I'm in a public park, y'all. I know I'm a good person. I haven't done anything, and I'm walking back to my car exhausted from a run one day. It's kind of hot, literally, like the weather, y'all, and I'm fucking, like, it's so, you know, I'm covered in sweat. So again, I've got a neurological disability. I'm already pushing it a little bit anytime in the heat, for example, and I'm, you know, running, okay, and I'm literally, this is the thing, yo, I trip over a fucking rock, and in fact, that's what's so terrible. I'm actually looking at the ground, and I trip over a rock, and there's this dude, like, as I, like, you know, this is the thing, yo, we're all human beings, and just to let you know, it's a part of your, like, your physical, you can't control your physical reflex if you're, you know, someone in the corner of your eyes walks up, and your eyes just, like, turn in that direction a little bit. I've got sunglasses on, let me emphasize. I'm not trying to, I've actually got sunglasses on that are intentionally a very thin shade, so you can see my pupils through them, okay? I don't look at this dude's kid in any way, shape, or form. I look up at, well, there's a dude standing there, and literally he's like, eyes on the ground, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, I'm not even mad, but this fucking narrative right now, I'm not looking at your fucking kid, and that's what bothers me so much with some of you people, is that it's like, I will show you in every way that I can that I don't even want to be around your kid, even though, quite frankly, I'm good with kids, if you need to put it that way, y'all. I'm not just safe, I'm really, y'all, and that's what's so terrible. Alright, I could be an educator, and at this point, I'm kind of just like, nah, fuck that, because these people have been so despicable towards me. I'm not even, you know, if I even try, like, oh, I'm gonna be a teacher, like, no, I don't want to be a teacher, y'all. See, if I make educational content, I just kind of don't want to put the F word in there, and I'm not, you know, really, it's like, it's on topic, it's on something, none of this really has been that yet, is what I'm saying, y'all, because you fucking tortured a man relentlessly for years, and then some of you sit around still in another state, and you're like, yeah, it was all a bunch of consciously fraudulent lies by, you know, our fucking mafia. Still, you know, they need to make sure we delete this man, so more fucking violent hate crimes. How many of those crimes, yo? You understand? a hate crime is so fucking serious. And why? Because, well, in a way, y'all, it's genuinely like the first crimes committed in this, y'all. What do you think I'm getting at? The first crimes committed in this, how can you even try to say they weren't literal hate crimes? You understand? You have no plausible deniability. Every crime that's been committed, victimizing innocent people, right? Some of them, it's like, well, the nuance to, crimes on my fucking internet, but still, I would argue, in a way, fucking victimizing innocent people to try to frame an innocent man, that's a fucking hate crime, yo! Way back then! And then that didn't work, so you escalated. Right, I remember seeing a technician from Grande who I appreciate so much. I've mentioned this before, yo. And that's the thing, it was just coincidence and timing. He's getting up there and he sees me, yo. And that's the thing, I see the look in his eyes. I'm not a mind reader. I see him looking at me. And he just, I think I waved even friendly, maybe gave, like a just hello head nod, right? It's not some kind of veiled anything. It's not like, secret communication. But this guy, I see it in his eyes. I'm not a mind reader, yo. He knows. Right, and that's what I'm saying. He knows, like, so many people, yo. You talk to even people at Data Foundry, quite frankly, they see the two of us, Jason and I, going up there, yo. Maybe some of them socially, politically, it doesn't really matter, is what I'm saying, yo. It's like, in the bigger picture, we have to end up with, like, all of everyone in the public. Okay, this is super fucking paper thin, what they're trying to say about this man. He's a good man. He comes up there, the backpack on, like, usually dressed like, what, a young professional like I am. They see that I'm usually the one up there if there's an outage in our shit. And like, oh, why is that relevant? I mean, that Jason lives 3 miles from the fucking data center, and yet I'm like, okay, well, I'll head in that direction, I guess, because this guy, you're all sitting around. You don't care that he doesn't do his job. In fact, you're spitting that in my face. He takes, 8 weeks off or more a year. He's coming back and saying, oh, man, I'm so exhausted from my vacation. It's like, wow, good for you, man, and then he wants to sit there and give me presentations, about his vacation, and he's going through his pictures, and that's what's so creepy, y'all. He's going through his pictures, and I'll be honest, speaking of psychology, he's way too focused on his goddamn stepdaughter, yo. That's what's fucking disgusting. He's way too focused on pictures of his stepdaughter. He's way too focused on talking about his fucking stepdaughter, and even, having to talk with her, and like he's clearly like fucking, I don't even want to go any further, y'all. It's just fucking disgusting. I'm actually not kidding. He's clearly, clearly not a good man. And that's the thing, it's so bizarre to me when he goes up to me and he's like, hey, I gotta tell you something, I need you to not tell anybody in the company. And it's like, what is that? He's like, well, and again, it's like, I don't, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, I'm not judging you, and, and again, it's like, okay, you tell me not to tell anybody, and like, well, I'll take that into consideration and, in the context, but, that's actually what's so fucking weird, y'all. He shouldn't have been telling me, anything in my opinion, but why is he fucking telling me this? He's straight up, he's like, well, they say that pedophilia is genetic, and my dad, he's in prison for molesting a 16-year-old. And like he's saying he's upset by that, but that's also what's so bizarre to me, yo. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, Jesus. And did I turn around and tell anyone that? No, I did not, That's what's terrible. I didn't, and you're like, oh, how could you not? It seems concerning. Well, that's the thing, you give people the benefit of the doubt. That's actually what I'm saying. I'm like, well, maybe he's just really stressed out. Maybe, and can I put it very plainly how I thought about it, y'all? Because I actually fucking care about mental health care and psychiatry. I'm thinking maybe his dad abused him. Maybe his dad abused him, and that's really difficult. His own father abused him, and so maybe that's just why it's really stressful for him. But see, the weird thing to me is he's not really like, I don't know how else to say it, I guess he's in the psychology of it. He's not really exactly like, oh, that's such a horrible thing that his father did. Like that's actually the fucking weird part to me. I really mean that. And this guy made more pedo jokes than I've ever heard anyone make in my life. Speaking of psychology, what does that kind of indicate? I'll be honest, I think that it's something that was more than kind of on his brain quite frequently. And that's what's so fucking gross to me, y'all. See, and when I've ever brought up, for example, like, in data rights and privacy and all this shit, that's the most serious shit that's out there, yo. And see, I actually care. I actually care. Unlike, quite frankly, apparently any of you in the state of Texas, because you sat around trying to defend and help a fucking pedophile try to act like I'm a fucking pedophile when I'm not, yo. I am a fucking innocent man, and I'll be honest with you, it's like, no, I'm never for a moment am I like, oh yeah, no, I'm just trying to go in the opposite direction. Like, no, yo, you don't understand. You can go back and look at the history of my, if I need to say, yo, you can go back and look at the history of my, quote, pornography, yo. And I'm not like, needing or trying to like get with MILFs or whatever, y'all. But like, I don't know, it's like, yeah, really, y'all, just, everybody has their taste and their preference. You know what I usually like, though? I really mean it when I say I'm mentioning, like, I said I'm gonna, unfortunately, y'all probably have to talk about it the rest of my life, like, make love, not porn. Like, I like porn, if I ever watch porn, y'all, that's like, less of the, artificial, just like, perfectly polished, everything's like, giant fucking, dick, like, this tiny little, like, whatever, like, polished, female, like, Photoshop this fuck type of stuff, like, because that's the thing, we're all human beings, and like, I think we should, even in pornography, acknowledge the psychology. It's kind of like the no filter thing. Like, no, I'm not encouraging anybody to watch pornography. 18 plus only, trigger warning. That's the nuance I'll address. Let me emphasize this, y'all. The narratives that these people spin about sexuality, what I'm saying is that they actually fucking do so much harm, so much permanent harm to our entire society, because what they're kind of putting out there, y'all, is like they're trying to guilt and shame people for parts of them that are just human, right? And so I'm not telling anybody to go have a bunch of sex or to go, have a bunch of partners in any way. That's subjective and that's personal. That's your choice. Okay, I am very anti-slut shaming, if I need to say it that way. And why is that? Because I'm not encouraging what they would call, quote, slutty behavior. I'm not encouraging that, yo. What I'm saying is that, well, to be honest with you, okay, this is the nuance of it, is that quite frankly, what you consider to be, quote, slutty is very subjective. Subjective, as in, for example, yo, for fucking over 2.5, 3 years, I mostly wanted to, have a date, a normal just date, and cuddle, if I'm being completely frank, which I am, y'all, being honest. And that's the thing, these people have tried to prevent me, not just from dating, y'all, that's the thing, even, that's what's really difficult for me, y'all, and people in Austin, the nuance, it's like, okay, you gotta understand, like, I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not mad at you, but even if you're being flirtatious towards me a little bit, and I'm a human being, I have human intelligence, right? It's like people are almost getting mad at me for acting like I'm not picking up the hints, and I need you to pick up a hint. I can't date when these motherfuckers are not even letting me have a single fucking conversation. These fucking sick, psychotic people are recording every waking moment, every word that comes out of my mouth. You do not understand the fucking torture they're creating for a human being, quite clearly. I'm not mad, but I'm like, you clearly do not understand the literal straight up fucking torture that they're creating for me. When that's occurring, I'm not in a position where I'm just like, yeah, go on a lighthearted day, like have fun, like, it's just like, it really, y'all, and that's the thing, all of you think that dating, like in the family, because you're so one-dimensional in your perspective, you think it's just about like trying to get laid, and like, that's probably how you are, y'all, and that's what sucks to me, is I'm just not that kind of way, in any way, y'all. I'm actually just not that kind of way. It's more about the human connection, and I'm not kidding. It's more about the conversation, and look how fucking terrible you look right now for that shit, y'all. It's more about like, I want to have authentic conversation, and look what you fucking robbed from me. And you're like, now we're doing like a radio show. It's certainly not a cover for us to fucking muzzle and maim the fuck out of you and defame the fuck out of you. And there's nothing that matters to me more than having actual connection and authentic conversation, y'all. I would choose to not have sex for the rest of my life if that was the consolation I needed to make. And you sat like, no, like a bunch of fucking psychopaths, criminal fucking psychopaths. Like, no, that's the one thing you're not allowed to have, is that everyone gets to listen to every waking moment of your life. 24 hours a day, and you have no legal, moral, or ethical right in any way, you sick fucks!
Not a lot of actual landscaping going on around here. Hasn't been for years, that's for damn sure. But I will say to y'all that, my grandmother, she used to keep a garden, and, well, there's still some of that left. These flowers back there are beautiful. I'm never trying to film their property, y'all, but that's what's so terrible. Those people clearly know better than anyone that tree was cut down. You know, I'm not even filming them or talking to that guy. I'm streaming the other day. And he's like, oh, I'm going to fucking record you. And look, I'm on Wi-Fi right now, so I can't necessarily go too far, right? My Wi-Fi could cut out. Talk about multi-streaming, y'all. That's a part of what I'll have to get to with the designs I've been mentioning. And I say designs because, well, that's the thing. It's never just one perfect product, and that's part of the conversation, right? That's how I work, as I'm explaining. It's like, well, it depends on, a fair deal, right? It's like, what kind of, product are you wanting to offer if you are? And that's kind of what I'm presenting is, well, here's a product maybe that nobody considered completely. Here's part of what I'm advocating for, the simplicity, keeping the price down. Maybe you offer a premium option, but speaking of supply chain, that's kind of why I emphasize the Steam Deck so much. Nothing wrong with having a premium option, right? But I think that they were so intelligent in approaching it. Let's build a community first. Let's make sure that the people out there understand we're looking out for them, and we want to build a good product. And we want them to know that this is something that's here to last, and it really is. It's the honest to God truth. It's not going away anytime soon, y'all. In fact, it's a brand new product category in a way. Was there even, well, that's the thing. I actually, again, I think Nintendo's a great company, and quite frankly, was there inspiration partially from the Switch? I can't even say that that's true, if I'm being honest, y'all. In fact, they may have been designing, that product. Look how many iterations they went through. Valve, speaking of Valve, y'all, how many people are like, we will never see Half-Life, the end of Half-Life? That's kind of the whole thing, y'all. I've not even played through, right? I just started, and, I'll be honest, what sucks about that whole thing, y'all, is I'm playing the game, and I'm like, man, I'm not trying to be weird, y'all, with, the guards, right? I'm just kind of, fucking around in the video game. That's the simplest way to say it. Let me put it that way, right? I know, still, unfortunately, it's like, wow, these fucking people in the DEA, they're gonna hack all my shit, still, they're not gonna stop, And so I'm kind of just like, well, really, I'm not trying to throw it in anybody's face either, but it is kind of weird and funny in a way. The beginning of Half-Life, I'm just like, wow, look at this authoritarian, they're like, hey, now. I'm kind of fucking with you a little bit, y'all, if I'm being honest, when I'm playing the game. And the same with Red Dead. I'm not trying to that's the thing I've been saying, y'all. It's people going to GTA or Red Dead, which are both very mature. They're rated mature, right? That's one thing again to mention, y'all. It's I was never trying to be weird. If the conversation in that apartment, my friend is mad at me. He's the one, I'll be honest, he's being inappropriate from the beginning. I was actually trying to apologize for that shit. And that's the thing. I wasn't trying to hit on anybody. I actually do believe in platonic friendships. It's not, that's what's so terrible to me, y'all. To be honest with you, sure, I'll be extra, okay, look how terrible it is in a way. Are you over the age of 18? Okay. We're playing a game that you should not be playing if you're not over the age of 18 or 17 at the very least, but 18, really, let's be honest. And so that's what's kind of, again, y'all, I'm assuming that you are over the age of 18 because, well, how are you playing fucking Grand Theft Auto? That's what I'm saying, y'all. Really, again, some of y'all, it's so ridiculous the way that you fucking behave. You're like, we're defending real pedophiles who are projecting all their shit upon you. And, you don't realize how terrible that is, y'all. It's actually fucking not just kind of terrible. It's actually so evil. So fucking evil. Think about that. I don't care if Jason's wife Laura believes me, y'all, but I'm going to tell the truth in either case, and she can decide what she wants to do with that objective truth, because truthfully, she should not allow that man anywhere near her daughter, her actual daughter, especially when one of the main things that Jason was always saying is the stepdad. And I know she probably is mad at him. That's part of the whole equation, right? The stepdad, but he's always talking shit about what? It's fucking dirty blood from her biological father. So shitty, yo. So fucking shitty. So terrible, quite frankly. Remember, my content is mature, y'all. Rated 18 plus only. Trigger warning. And so none of you in the family or anywhere else saying, oh, no, you're being a bad influence. I'm an objectively better influence than fucking all of you combined. You are one of, if not the worst influences upon our entire society right now, yo. And that's what my investigation has just reasserted and reasserted and reasserted. And I've got so much more to say about the fucking torture that you've subjected me to, trying to ensure that you're the filter upon my waking existence. Oh, no, don't listen to what he says just because he's telling the truth. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't talk about our fucking mafia. Yeah, no. You know what that's gonna make me do, y'all? That's gonna make me talk so much fucking more for the rest of my life.
All right, so here's the best way. All right, first of all, let me explain about the multi-stream right now, y'all. As part of this technical showcase. No, I do. I'm not saying it's like he's the only one or whatever, right? There's a lot of people like Casey Neistat that have done kind of logs, right? Video logs of their life. And in a way, I'm kind of showing, like, look at the live editing, right? Yes, I'm explaining. Sometimes, not every time, but sometimes I vape a little bit of nicotine when I step outside, and it's actually not every time. That's literally the point, y'all. I have no obligation to explain that. Actually, that's also part of the point. I'm an adult. I make my own choices. None of you are ever going to fucking make choices for me. I'm not suffering from any mental illness. Quite frankly, when it comes down to it, that's part of what's so fucking sick and harmful to all of the narratives around psychiatry and mental health care. Is you've told that dumb fucking paper-thin lie over and over and over again, trying to act like you should be the filter, this filter, upon my waking existence. And look how terrible that is. Let me explain the Darth Vader thing now, y'all, because these people are fucking Palpatine. And who is Palpatine to Anakin? He's trying to make him evil. He's trying to convert him to the dark side. And that's what I will get so creative so quickly in a good way, y'all. You have no idea what the fuck you've done. Those of you that are still trying to cling to defense of, well, the number one sex traffickers on the face of the planet Earth. And you don't even know that. That's what's so evil, y'all. You don't even know that. You're just not fucking educated is the problem. So now you're going to be educated by me. So long as you keep this shit going, y'all, it's not made up. It's not gobbledygook, y'all. No. This is just unfiltered. Remember, it's like I'm just going straight through this shit that you're still trying to keep on me. And that's what's so evil, y'all. In a way, I think there was a lot of symbolism. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, but, look at that. Anakin is scarred up by the battle, and then suddenly, he's owned by the dark side, and every word that he speaks comes through this filter.
And he's mad, he's frustrated, he's clearly not happy, y'all, because deep down inside, he knows that it's wrong. And that's kind of the whole thing, y'all. Like, look at the character arc. It's such an important part. You know, people gave the prequel trilogy so much shit. I'll be honest, y'all. There's some goofiness in there, and you know, sure, I'll be honest, you know, like, but I'll be honest, y'all, I watched them the first time when I was younger, and that's one thing, right? It's like, even when I was younger, it's like, wow, this is amazing, it's so cool, pod racing, everybody gave the pod racing shit. It's like, okay, whatever, fair enough, y'all. You know, there's honestly, Red Letter Media does a very, very, you know, kind of like, well, openly critical review in a way of those movies, right? But then, okay, let me actually get serious for a moment. This is the part when I watched them again, when I was older, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Because I'm looking beyond the obvious here, and I'm looking at the root level logic of this story. And this is actually what is so fascinating to me, y'all, is that you have this dynamic of, you know, it's almost very binary, the dark side versus the light side. And that's what makes things actually way more complicated than people kind of realize. Because never are things that simple in real life, you know, in most cases. And maybe, oh wait, I just said an absolute, right? And only the Sith believe in absolutes, right? And that's kind of the thing I've always been pointing out. It's like, wait, that's an absolute. Like a root level logic, as a logician, I'm the first one to say, it's like, I'm confused because that is an absolute. How can you be like, only the Sith? But you were like, wait, in saying that, you're saying that you believe in absolutes because that's an absolute. So I'm really, though, I think that's part of the point in a way. Again, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. What I'm saying is that when it comes down to it, this is what I noticed when I watched those prequels again, is especially that scene with Mace Windu. Mace Windu is about to perform a Judge Dredd style execution of Palpatine, and that's what's so weird, y'all. You're like, do it, he's evil, he's revealed as a Sith Lord, you know, like Mace Windu knows, take care of this threat for what it is, you know, it's a light side versus the dark side, and ironically enough, even in kind of, you know, taking the turn to the dark side, that's what's, in my opinion, is actually quite well written, y'all. And again, it's not pandering, but I'm saying, like, for Anakin to be actually sort of, he's in a way, you're like, oh no, he's choosing the dark side. And again, you know, what he does after that, I agree, it's like fucking terrible, and I mean it, y'all. That's what I'm emphasizing, you know, it is, and it should be described as that. But at the same time, what is Anakin even saying? He's saying that, well, no, he needs to stand trial. This is not the way of the Jedi. We do not just assassinate people, even if we think that they're evil, even if we think that they're, you know, they are the enemy, right? We're giving in to the enemy. If we do that, that's what the Sith do, you know? And so it's like, wow, what a strange conundrum in a way. If you really look beyond the obvious, you know, you want it to be like, no, Mace Windu was right and he needed to kill him. But it's like, wait, you're advocating for him to just murder someone, no matter who that someone is, right? That's the root level logic, y'all. It actually doesn't matter in a way that Palpatine is so evil. He's like the straight up, you know, spawn of Satan almost, right? And he's sitting there, you know, he's openly, you know, waging war upon innocent people in the dark, choosing to pretend, you know, very consciously he's like this good politician guy when he's a Sith Lord in reality, right? And they're all kind of coming to the, you know, the collective realization that that is the case, you know, at the same time. And really that's what's, you know, it's strange in a way, y'all, because when you look at that, and what then ends up happening, it's like the beginning of the downfall, but in a way, Mace Windu almost makes it happen. He's a Jedi. And we all wanted to think, you know, and understandably, like, he's a Jedi, he's a good guy, you know, he's supposed to be, you know, doing the good thing, but then he realizes the Sith Lord, kill it, you know, like, end it. It's like, no, that's not, I'll be honest, y'all, that's the thing. I think we got to get away from such binary logic. Always, we have to remind ourselves, right? The Jedi are, they're supposed to be the good guys, right? And what are they all about? They're about, you know, they're almost like monks, right? They peacefully meditate, but how can they be like monks when they run around with, well, laser swords, y'all? Like, you know, that's the thing. They're like monk knights, you know. They are defending people, and they're trying to maintain balance of the Force, is what they're always saying, right? And wow, what a difficult thing, especially when you consider, I mean, in the scheme of things, Anakin is a good guy. And then that's the thing, y'all, is like, do not project bullshit upon me, Darth Vader. That's what I'm saying. These people, they're trying to make me Darth Vader. They want to be the filter upon every word that comes out of my mouth. And that's the whole thing here. It's like when I'm saying that, that's the thing. Obviously, I need human connection. I don't need sex. I don't need, to get laid in any way. I need human connection just like anybody else. I don't need to be on the autism spectrum to explain, like, oh, well, yeah, human connection is a fucking requirement for life. I don't want to be, on a computer alone all the time. Look how fucking terrible the paradox that's created. They're like, oh, you just want to play Halo, and then you're fucking forcing a situation where I'm just playing Halo because every interaction is fucking completely lacking any authenticity. Everybody's lying straight to my face about, thinking that they know who I am, thinking that they're like, yeah, I know, just like and again, I'm not even mad at all, people who said, for example, certainly we would have been interested in going on a date, and then somebody said to me, it's like educated about, psychology and mental health care. But then at the same time, that's the part that's like really impossible for me to explain, hey, this has not been what it's been presented to you as. When you're saying to me, like, everyone's pandemic was kind of tough, I was like, no, my God, you have no earthly idea. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm not diminishing your perspective. I'm saying it's all about real context. And when these people are trying to invalidate real context, that's the difficulty. I need to have actual, authentic conversation with you at length for you to even understand that I'm the one telling the truth, not these people trying to force a fucking helmet onto my head where they control everything that I see, everything that I say, everything that's said to me, everything that I hear, the music that I listen to or don't listen to, how I, every single aspect of who I am through and through as a human being, fundamentally, in a way which is not just unethical, it's so deeply fucking immoral, it's so deeply fucking beyond comprehension, quite frankly, that so many people wanted to believe that that could even be considered legal, let alone humane. And why? Because they were presented a facade about me. When I've said that, by the end of this, I will probably, I'm not going to say probably in the bathtub last night, I explained, I need to be able to talk to a therapist or a counselor that understands clearance, y'all. And I don't have clearance. What a fucking dichotomy. Talk about brand new legislation. Because people will be mad at me for saying things that I can prove myself with my own skills, and yet I can't even go to a therapist or a mental health care specialist who, especially because of defamation now that I've been subjected to with reckless abandon. I'm not even mad at the man who said this, but I certainly did probably make a mistake by choosing a remote psychiatrist that was in the state of Texas, right? And he's like, have you been experiencing any mania? Like, no, sir, I have not, and you have no fucking idea what these people have actually been doing to me in the dark, and it's not mental illness in any way, shape, or form. That is the most challenging part of this. Do you know about the water being deeply polluted here in the apartment that I'm in? Do you know about fucking spyware and how it works? Do you know about MSO Group? Do you know about spyware on someone's local machine? Do you know how violating it is when there's not only, one group of people hacking your machine, but then there's another? And wow, that's the thing, how complicated does it really even fucking get? You've got shells within shells. You've got people who don't understand any of the context that they're staring at. They're watching your screen and they're seeing you pull up literal GIFs, trying to, subliminally way back then hint to them about what really, y'all. That's what's so bizarre to me. It's like, obviously there's more than a little bit of logic going on when I'm pulling up very specific GIFs. And, the one that I was using back then, I can't even find. I'm not saying it got cleaned up the internet, What I'm saying is that, like, well, the one I was using back then, it was a cool one, It was like TVs with, the superintendent logo, and, it was like, what am I explaining? Like, you guys got to understand, like, how do I put this best? If you're going to sit there and all share my screen in a super fucking abusive, psychotic way and lie to my face about it. I don't even want to talk about, past business, y'all, but it's like, that's not just a little bit of a security concern. That's straight up fucking psychological torture. And I don't really care about, but international law. Like, oh, okay, no. That's what you don't understand. Like, that shit is so abusive. Talk about international law. There's no one for a moment that would ever try to justify that shit. it if they knew all of the context. And that's what's fucking terrible. You ripped apart an American family. You allowed my family's trust to be abused. You know, my own mom is throwing it in my face. Why didn't you do at your job? And it's like, but that's the problem. You know, you're not going to listen to me. I did the right thing at my job. And clearly you are choosing to listen to the wrong people who are irrefutably so directly connected to some of the people who were criminally implicated by things they did 2 years before and then more than 2 years, let me emphasize, at least 2 years before I even started at this company. Mom, I'm not even mad at you in that moment. And I'm still not even really mad. That's what's so terrible in the bigger picture of this, y'all. It's that I know that I am able to forgive and move on, but my family, some of them, like, they're just really not that kind of people. Are they gonna, take a step back from their, the opinions that they clung to from the beginning? Like, that's the problem, I'll be honest, I am, even though you're all trying to call me stubborn, I'm the least stubborn member of, especially my immediate family, besides maybe my sister. Really, I mean that, y'all. It's like, I'm the least fucking stubborn. And these people, it's like, it's so fucking difficult for me. Because that's the thing, quite frankly, I wanted to leave my sister out of this altogether, because I love her and I respect her. And to be honest, you people, you've gone back, you've tried to redefine objective reality. Even my sister's friends would have to say, if they were telling the truth, that never was I around them trying to be weird or creepy, or like, I just wanted to give them their space and their time. And that is the honest to God truth. I'm the older brother, and I'm, not, everyone that's relative, right? But I'm quite a bit older. It's like, really, and that, like, I'm not some super awkward shy guy either. I'm not being fucking weird. It's like, hello, okay, like, a lot of times, my buddies are over, we're lifting weights, we're not trying to show off in any way. It's the opposite. I want to have the door shut. Really, it's like privacy between all of us. I mean it, It's like, you go hang out, and we'll hang out here. That's actually the main thing. There was literally one time where I asked if they could quiet down just a little bit, because I was trying to go to sleep for a soccer game, y'all. And I said to them straight up, I was like, look, I don't care. Y'all staying up late, I don't care at all. You stay up, whatever, like, does not matter. To be honest, y'all, you're kind of like really loud right now. And I do have a soccer game like early in the morning, and I care, and it's so dumb, y'all, to address this nuance, y'all. Like, I'm not saying dumb on my part, I just mean this whole fucking narrative is so dumb. I'm just like, okay, I don't care, like, really, I'm not, my parents would be mad that you're playing is one way to say it. But really, it's like, okay, I understand. I was younger, and, we had sleepovers, and we were just hanging out, we would stay up late and goof around. Like, I'm not trying to tell y'all not to, really, like, you're just being, yourselves. That's the main thing to say. So I'm just like, okay, and then I go back to bed, and they were respectful. That's it. That was all. That was the end. And so that's what's so fucking, frustrating for me, is that the honest to God truth is, like, some of you are just so goddamn neurotic. You don't give a fuck about the truth. You're just like, oh yeah, no, we're like fucking territorial as fuck, and like, that's the thing. You sit around protecting fucking pedophiles like Jason McGaul, and you think that you're not evil as fuck for doing that, when he's sitting there participating in this goddamn felony espionage with you. You're letting him spit in my face. He's not just bullying me, y'all. That's the thing, man. He will fucking lie. It's like the psychopath that he is. He hates my guts so fucking much for telling the truth. And honestly, y'all, they never thought that I would just tell the full truth. That's what they were, like, riding upon. It's like, by the time that I'm saying to Michael Brumback and Brian Carpenter call, it's like, y'all, very, very plainly, matter of fact, professionally, y'all. I think that haunted both of them for a moment. In fact, I happened, I think, to not have my camera on that day, which I reserved the right. I'm on the autism spectrum. I didn't even want to have to talk about it at the time. I'm happy to have the camera on plenty of times, y'all. It's just that when I have the camera on, nobody is fucking paying attention to anything but the fucking camera on me, and it's not mental illness. It's like, Jesus. I'm used to talking about really technical things, even giving presentations to some extent,
and that's the thing, I'm used to pressure, and I'm driving a Linux terminal with 15 people watching me. Am I always a perfect typist? No, no one is ever, y'all. But nobody can say for a moment that I can't handle pressure. Nobody can say for a moment that I've just got like some stage fright, some anxiety, like, which is, everybody's like, no, you're just lacking some confidence. Like, these people are being super fucking ridiculously psychotic and abusive. They're sitting there like, no, don't listen to any word that comes out of his mouth, because we've got to be fucking Darth Vader's helmet, on top of him. So really, don't believe him when he's like, yeah, I'm actually not really, I don't really suffer from anxiety or stage fright. I've even mentioned like some mild anxiety on occasion, maybe mild. But then you talk about the neurological disability, and that's the thing. You start to realize when I've said that it's a physical source of anxiety in a way. It's like you're like, I don't even know what that means. And yeah, well, then actually that's not what you say, right? You're like, no, I just did not. No, the honest to God truth is that's the thing, you got to fucking learn up. You're going to sit here and be such consciously terrible people towards me that you need to understand that that's very real when I say that. I mean, think about chronic pain in and of itself, and then I explain neuropathy, and I explain that, it's like pinpricks all over your arms, your legs, your hands, your feet, your head at times, random, like your scalp getting really itchy and you don't have any, dry skin, that kind of stuff. It's nerve pain, it's neuropathy, y'all. It's actually fucking science, quite frankly, and it's just despicably evil that some of you have, like, straight up, you've not just tried to deny me healthcare throughout this. It's like the last thing on earth that you want to occur is that my physical health issues be properly documented, because that just doesn't fit your paper thin lie of a consciously fucking fraudulent narrative about me. You're literally lying about the most fundamental aspects of who I am as a human being, and not one of you has ever gone through something, and I'm not saying anybody out there, I'm saying that you would not be on the wrong side of this if you really received a real brain injury like I did, yo. That is the honest to God truth, and if you find yourself in that spot, it just means that you need even more context. That's the nuance of what I will address repeatedly. Because some of you, again, you think about the brain like it's just like, oh yeah, you received a boop on the head and then you're just, quote, ruminating, or you just, like I'll be honest, y'all, like some people said to me, like, to be honest with you, this sentiment echoed, and I don't even want to say names, but I'm going to have conversations with people, and I'm even recognizing, wow, you're still recording me, still recording me, still recording me. Acting like you're not. Even if I don't have my phone with me, you're still recording our conversations, and you know that I'm being very filtered. You know that I'm being so filtered, which means that they love that, yo, because it's like, yeah, this fits our fucking narrative, really. It's recording him illegally without his consent. Or are they? I mean, it's a one-party recording, say, right? But see, that's the thing, I mean, if I can't disclose that someone is an agent because, well, technically I don't have clearance, and then I record them, which I can legally do, right? Because I can't technically legally know. I mean, they haven't shown me a badge. So look at the dichotomy that's, the paradox in a way that's created. Like, you're playing fucking recording wars, and you're being super fucking unethical and criminal with it. It's so despicably unconstitutional. You're trying consciously to create a fraudulent narrative. You're torturing someone openly but covertly, and that's the thing. It's like, how does that even work? Openly but covert? Well, how can you say it's covert when you're streaming that shit to a Discord server and you all know, but you're trying to pretend like you're not? That's straight up fucking psychotic. Talk about shared psychotic disorder, y'all. How dare any of you accuse me of suffering from, quote, psychosis, because there was, unfortunately, and someone I have to now, provide all of this content to, y'all. It's like, yeah, to be honest, I kind of just took the consolation because I saw the look on your face. I'm trying to explain, like, I've got a computer. I can show you all the logs. I can show you all of the data. I can show you literally that I'm not just claiming that this militarized surveillance tool has been deployed to my personal private property and that passive recording was implemented. I can fucking prove that in a federal court of law. Talk about new legislation, everyone. And see, look how terrible, y'all, because really, you know, when that was first deployed, were they streaming it through a Discord server? Well, I would not guess so. I would think that maybe they're not that fucking criminal. But see, that's the thing. It's shells within shells, right? Anybody involved, you know, they're able to listen, right? That kind of inner shell, and then that's the thing, y'all. And they're deciding to quote cook the case is the colloquial term, and they're like, no, we gotta speed this shit up. Yeah, he's a good guy, and we know it, but we already called him a quote schizo because he wasn't even calling us out. He was just straight up like, yo, your behavior doesn't make any sense, man. You keep wanting to hang out with me, and like you're being really fucking aggressive, trying to, you know, quote, buy drugs from me when I don't fucking sell drugs. And to be honest with you, you're buying drugs from this other dude that is buying drugs from, you know, people right here in Abilene, like over and over and over again. You're buying drugs from him over and over and over again, like, and clearly you're of the same politics. So what the fuck is your reconciliation of that shit when I just don't want to hang out with you anymore? And before I even say a word about, well, DEA, you're literally like, no, I want to fight. I want to fucking fight you. We need to meet up and fight. Like, not only do I not want to fight in general, but like, first of all, I'm not even going to get into talking about how that would go. Second of all, literally, it's like, what stupid fucking logic, really? The stupidest fucking thing. Like, I'm sitting here saying to you, I just don't want to be your friend. You're being fucking not a friend to me at all. And that's the thing, y'all. It's straight up psychotic the way that man was behaving, because he's like, yeah, I really want to hang out. Can you come pick me up at this specific location? It's like, oh, okay, that's like, wow, that's weird, right? And then right around the same time, he's like, yeah, my buddy, he's like a neighbor over here. He's got like, you know, nice desktop computer. It's like so much better than your little tiny. That's the thing, you know, always. It's just like, he thinks he's like hurting me or insulting me, and he's just being fucking psychotic piece of shit. He's like, yeah, so much better than your little, you know, tiny Mac Mini. You know, it's just got a little i5. Like, okay, sure. You know what? It's actually not always, you know, the you know, the power even that counts. It's the quote size that counts. Like, you know, you get intelligence. You know, that's kind of my whole thing with, you know, hardware and computers, y'all. It's like, it's definitely literally not about fucking, you know, what you people obsess over, which is penis size. That's the fucked up irony, y'all. You people obsess about that shit to an extent that it actually just tells me that, like, you are clearly insecure as fuck and trying to, you know, accuse me falsely of, you know, having a tiny dick when I don't. You're just like, yeah, now we fucking love that. Yeah, everybody hate him because we fucking tried to frame him for crimes. You know, we quote cooked the case, and he's got a very average sized penis, and he's a grower, not a shower, and he said that himself. Yeah, that's what's so terrible, y'all. Like, fucking film me through a webcam on my own goddamn workstation. You know what's so shitty about that, y'all? That Logitech webcam has a blue light that tells you when it's on, and so I'm getting out of a call, and I'm literally like, that's the thing, is 100% not intentional, but I'm like, you know, really, why do I even unplug that shit most of the time, especially in this context? It's like, well, I'm aware of how computers work, y'all, like, to an extent that some of you clearly, like, do not understand. So a lot of times I just straight up unplug it as a part of my general practice. It's not mental illness. It's like having a webcam cover is definitely just generally a good idea, just to fucking let you know, y'all. And why is that? Well, because any of these fucking hackers that are super unethical and criminal, you know, they'll fucking abuse that shit upon you if they can. They will straight up fucking abuse that shit upon your life. And that's kind of the whole thing, y'all. You're like, oh, what do you have to hide? You know, I was like, well, nothing, but like, look how terrible the dichotomy and the paradox is. I don't have anything to hide, but you people are abusing the fuck out of tools you clearly don't understand, being super unconstitutional, criminal, and immoral with them after you've already committed felony crime trying to frame a person, you know, like, really straight up, like, that's so evil, y'all. You like, we give you, those are public tax dollars. Let me emphasize. Not your tax dollars, not my tax dollars, but our tax dollars. And you people sit around, you're like, now this is our tools, our money. It's like, no, it's not your fucking money, y'all. See, I take the big picture perspective, like, how fucking dare you? Let me put it that way. How fucking dare you? For real. That is irrefutably, unlike what you falsely accused me of, yo, unlike what Ryan Hoover literally coached someone to say, someone he was having sex with repeatedly,
he was clearly very insecure about thinking that we had anything going on when we did not. You know, that's I'm talking about platonic friends. I wanted her, I'm not even going to say her name, I wanted her to know that we were just platonic friends. You know, even if we're, you know, going to the Domain and we're having dinner and we're going, you know, shopping. Like, I'm even saying to her that, it's like, I'm actually, you know, this is not a date. This is not like, you know, I'm not trying to get with you, y'all. And that's the thing, she can never go back and be like, yeah, I was like, oh yeah, let's go back to my place and hey, you know, let's hang out, you know, in the bedroom, or like this kind of shit, you know. Like, I never said to her, like, let's Netflix and chill. She said that shit to me, actually, y'all. That's the thing. You know, we're up in the movie office, kind of similar things. Just like, you know, I'll be honest with you, a lot of times she was finding an excuse to come talk to me. And that's what's so strange to me. Like, she clearly, I'm not saying she thought I was the most attractive person ever. Y'all, right now, I need a haircut and like all this shit. And that's the thing. I'm the kind of person I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's like there's more important things in life. Kind of like there's a little bit of a mess here. I'm going to clean up the bedroom a little bit more today. But like, I'm not kidding, y'all. Like, you sit and you're like, now we're going to ignore the deep and ridiculously most fucking important everything here. And then like, oh yeah, the bathroom is already smelly. But now everybody's like, no, you made it smelly. And it's like, no, I fucking did not. You fucking liars. That's the thing, y'all. I'm a human being, all right? And I'm actually more willing to admit that than any of you, apparently. You know, when we're upstairs in the Moby office, there was no temptation. Let me emphasize this, y'all. And there was a million reasons why. I think she thinks that it's a temptation. She's literally, you know, splayed out on the couch. You know, she's like, I've always wanted to Netflix and chill on this couch. Like, you're talking about this giant TV up there. I'm not trying to, you know, hit anything with my hand. Or are you fucking filming me yet again without my consent, yo? And that's why, for anybody that watches this later, yo, that's the reason why I'm assuming ownership over my life again, yo. Multiple camera angles, you know. It's a little bit warm out today, you know, but I'll be on the porch again. You know, some of this will be outside. Like, that's the thing. I like to be able to be, you know, mobile and, you know, kind of like, really, yo. It's like, well, this is like the fucking, and again, I use film as a communication method. Before, I was kind of referencing it like, man, this kind of feels like the fucking Hunger Games. You got like a communication challenge, and now it feels like a straight up, like it's actually like the fucking Hunger Games. Remember that whole thing where they're like, you know, Katniss doesn't like to be on camera. You know, she's just kind of like a normal person. Like, I don't either, really, y'all, to be honest with you. I don't hate it at the same time. Like, well, I'm not... Hate is the main thing I want to emphasize. I don't hate anyone or anything is reality, yo. I don't even fucking hate fucking Putin, even though I'm sitting here saying he's like the most evil man on the face of the planet right now, quite frankly, yo. Which is a very almost gentle thing for me to be saying, given what's really happened and who these people really fucking serve in reality. What I'm saying is this kind of like the whole Jedi Sith thing. Like, the Jedi can't do, and I'm not a Jedi, yo. The Jedi can't do their fucking jobs, though, if they're, you know, just saying, fucking assassinate. And that's the thing, these people have actually tried to fucking assassinate me now more than once. Jesus Christ. And that's what I'm saying. It's not mental illness. That's how psychotic they are. They go up on stage and they act like they're all, you know, perfect and Christian, and like, then they're also like, yeah, we gotta be like the fucking gangs of Los Angeles. And it kind of makes me think of that, you know, another film, you know, Gangs of New York. Like, you know, and fucking that one dude is just like vicious as fuck with the axes or whatever. Like, just really, trigger warning, yo, that movie is like intense as it all can be. But that's what I'm saying, y'all. These people, they'll fucking try to frame you in any way. They'll victimize innocent fucking people, trying to say that you're someone that you're not. And so much more than that. They just have no fucking morals, no fucking even basic degree of integrity whatsoever, especially if you dare say a word about their precious little fucking, quote, the family. And that's what I'm saying, yo. You know, trust me, I wanted to date, you know, just because I'm a human being, not because I'm trying to get laid.
right? If anything, that's the whole thing I'm trying to explain about, well, you know, like going on a date again. Like, oh wow, I'm really looking forward to like not being fucking tortured relentlessly with militarized surveillance technologies being relentlessly and illegally abused over my waking existence. So fucking despicable, so fucking psychotic, so fucking evil, quite frankly, y'all. So consciously fucking evil. And these people, they don't just not take no for an answer, y'all. If you dare say no, remember I was never saying like, oh, I'm too precious, I'm too expensive for you. I was saying I can't be bought. Like, I clearly have more loyalty to this country than literally all of you in this organization combined. Because your loyalty is not even to your own families. Your loyalty is certainly not to the United States. Your loyalty has, and apparently some of you will forever be, to the family. Because that's the thing, y'all, that propaganda, and this is why it's so relevant that you actually did absorb real Nazis way back when. You know, those mindsets and those perspectives, they never went away. How many of those fucking Nazis escaped off to South America? How many of them were then swooped up by these fucking people, y'all? That's what I'm saying. I'm actually not kidding, y'all. You had to talk about root level logic. You had some brains in there, y'all, and I'm not trying to say, like, oh, good brains, or, like, no, I'm saying that's the worst part. You know, talk about evil geniuses, y'all. You had, and again, that's what something we got to address the nuance of, y'all, being, you know, even if someone is a, quote, fucking genius, right? I've said Trump, there's aspects of genius, and even, you know, like, how dare I, right? How dare I say there's aspects of genius with Donald Trump, and it's like, I'm not even saying, y'all, that he's just, you know, just a cokehead or any of this kind of stuff, or that I can assert that myself, right? What I'm saying is that, like, well, what is kind of genius? I mean, he knows that people love the vitriol and the hate right now, especially, right? He really does, yo. So he's, you know, in debates, he's just riding on that. He's not really even actually, does Donald Trump prepare for political debates, y'all? Is he like, okay, where's the, you know, let's go review, you know, okay, what's our, you know, foreign policy, okay, what's our, you know, domestic, you know, okay, you know, what are we doing about the economy, you know, like, do you think that, you know, he's like, okay, you know, team, all right, present to me the good information, like, let's get prepared, you know, let's go through, it's like, I don't know, y'all, I'm not saying he doesn't, I'm saying, like, wow, I watched some of those debates, and the fact that some of you are like, yeah, he's so smart, you know, it's like, yeah, you should lock her up. Wee, was so fucking smart. And the fucking people putting, you know, the trailer of, you know, fake Hillary Clinton, like, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of when I walked down to San Marcos and you people are pulling this shit that you did. And you thought I would never talk about it because that's what you wanted, y'all. You wanted just for, like, oh, no, he's so crazy, y'all. What did these people really do, y'all? Again, it's like, I almost don't want to talk about it. But actually, you know, that's the thing, yo, unfiltered, like, I'm not kidding, I was really just like, oh my Jesus Christ, these people are so fucking evil, they're so fucking evil. Like, first of all, I'm not kidding, y'all, they actually were about to kidnap me outside of, and then south of Austin, y'all, it's late at night, and they knew that I didn't have my phone with me, and look at that double-edged sword, y'all. I mean, I left my phones behind because, well, they already shot me in a drive-by in Austin with an airsoft gun, and I had my phones with me, so if you need to understand the human aspect, I'm like, wow, what a double-edged sword. I had my phones with me because I was, well, persecuted relentlessly and illegally for the last, you know, over 2 years now, essentially. I'd like to go to church, but these people are participating in that relentless fucking abuse, and so I'm doing worship on the go, live, and honestly, y'all, I even want cops to see me in some ways. You know, I'm not trying to be, you know, well, abrasive, but like I saw, for example, state troopers like, wait a minute, you know, I'm not doing anything illegal, I'm paying attention to my driving, y'all, both hands on the wheel. Remember, hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. We can go back to that, y'all really mean it, but I've got both hands on the wheel and I'm doing what? I'm driving around, you know, the fucking circular, you know, what's it called, y'all? I'm just, goodness. I'm driving circles, y'all, around a roundabout. Not a bunch, not like 10 million, right? But it's like a couple, right? Really, there's like a few, and I see a copy, and it's like, wait, no, you can't do that. Like, well, technically it's legal, yeah. Technically, it could be, probably, I don't know. It's one of those gray areas. Maybe it's like, no, that's unreasonable, in other people. But that's the thing. I'm like being mindful of other people, and I'm like being very calm. I'm not streaming at the moment, y'all. Though that's kind of the nuance of the whole situation, right? It's like you're streaming, I'm recording at the time. You're streaming, I'm recording at the time, but I'm recording hands-free. I've got two phones with me. The vehicle is fucking recording me. And you're like, how do you know that? Oh, well, I wonder how I can know that. Daniel Wynn's talking about, it sounds like a movie, fucking conversations in the car. That's just so fucking painful and difficult for me, y'all. It's like, I'm trying to be mindful of if people actually thought they were, like, helping me or, doing something, decent or moral, but at the same time, it's like, you're trying to control me in a way that's straight up fucking, like, representative of conscious Nazism. I mean it. That's what's so difficult for me, actually, is that, I'll be honest, I don't hate Daniel Wynn in any way. In fact, that's the thing, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I'm trying to look at him like, well, I mean, he just doesn't know what he doesn't know, and that really was the thing, and I'm trying to do the right thing in all of this, I did need a job, and I was a little bit frustrated. It's like, the comments that were specific enough at the beginning, right? And I'll be honest, I'll talk about human intelligence, I can tell when, I'm in a call with people and they can clearly see me in my home. It's like, Jesus, I'm fucking doing this again? Y'all, you have no idea the fucking torture. I'm not even mad at you. I'm just like, I wish you knew, because you would not feel okay about it. If you understood the fucking torture, the straight up fucking torture. I'm not a bad guy. I don't even want to say anything controversial in any way. And these people are just like, shove that fucking helmet on him. Shove that fucking helmet on him. Make him fucking Darth Vader. Yeah, it'll be such a win for us if we converted him to the dark side. And we get him up there on stage, quote, preaching. But he's not actually preaching. He's just spewing the same fed lines that we all spew every Sunday. Are all of them fed lines? I'm not saying that, y'all. Let me put it this way. I'll address the nuance to that. There is just more of that going on than you would ever believe. It's the simplest way to say it, y'all. More of that than you'd ever believe. But I mean, yes, I'm certain that some of them they put their own flavor on it, right? They kind of like make their adjustments. I'm not saying every single sermon that they give is written for them per se. I'm saying that they're very much not just kind of in the loop. In the wire, really, about what they are allowed to or are not allowed to say. And that's the problem, is that the power of an organization like this, especially when you see it for what it is, which is an intelligence operation, is that they're doing multiple things at once. It's like everything, everywhere, all at once, right? They're both on the television saying certain things to people very consciously, right? Not like straight up twisting and manipulating. And then they're also in the churches, right? And they're also in so many other places. That's what's challenging, And so really, you start looking at that for what it is, it's like, wow, okay, they've got propaganda farms out there abusing services like Facebook, abusing services like Twitter, abusing services like Twitch at times, That's kind of the whole thing for me, I fully expect, and honestly, that's the thing, like Russians, jumping in my streams, like, they will, and they'll watch, and very intently, they all know, FSB at the very least, like, they all know who I am, you may not want to believe it, they know exactly who the fuck I am. And so look how difficult that is. I've got in the rules, it's like, now FSB, I understand. It's actually kind of, I'm not trolling them, but it's kind of like a fucking joke, right? Because everybody else is just like, oh, that's crazy. And then they'll see that and they're like, yeah, you think we're going to follow your rules? Like, no, I don't, motherfuckers. No, I don't for a moment. How fucking stupid some of you are to serve that goddamn slave master that you do. maybe if we call him a quote retard again, maybe if we call him a quote schizo again, yeah, is that gonna work? Yeah, we're gonna quote trigger him, and they're all so fucking triggered. That's the thing. They're the biggest fucking snowflakes on the face of the planet, because when I say shit like they have no freedom of speech, they know that's so goddamn true. When I say shit like they know that the moment they step out of line, they've got the neurotoxin coming for them straight from this fucking dude, they know that's so true, right? That one, troll, really, that's the thing, like, am I really asserting that he was Russian? Well, I mean, his English was very broken, he, she doesn't even matter at all, I'm serious. It's like, quite frankly, let me be very clear about that, though, also, no joke about Luke and his drug problem. I'm saying that, really, when it comes down to it, I'm not kidding when I say I'm very anti-xenophobic, so no, but, quote, and I emphasize quote broken English. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we got to get away from that shit. Everybody types in a different way. Even me sometimes. Of course, like I'm typing. Quick chats and communication. Like that's something that just never comes through in text chats. That's part of why I don't like even a lot of times. Like it's a phone call. I'm more than capable of writing up an email. But when I'm being illegally muzzled, that kind of stuff makes it. I was like, wow, they're reading every single thing I type as I type it. These people are being fucking illegal, like the straight up conscious criminal psychopaths. It's like impossible for me to even communicate the way that I need to communicate, which is confidentially, and that's what's so impossible for me in that context. Is they'll use any word I say against me, even if I'm sitting there saying like I can't say everything right now because it's actually confidential, and then they're like, oh yeah, he's just mentally ill because how could he dare have confidential things to communicate when we're sitting here doing something covertly that is ridiculously fucking illegal? How could he ever? And it's like, oh my god. So when they tie it all together, y'all, what am I explaining by that in big part, right? It's that, that's what's difficult for me. If the local authorities are, deploying things like Pegasus, right? TFPS, for example, or state troopers, the state police, right? That's the challenge for me. Is like, well, I'm on your side, right? But the Russians will hack the fuck out of me as well. And normally I could actually put up with that quite, just some money. You let me do my fucking job. It's like I replace network gear, I've got I'm not somebody ever hiding anything, but you people, it's like, look at this, talk about new legislation, you tried to fucking starve me out in real life, and then that's the thing, for a while I was like, are you openly serving the Russians? Like, are you openly serving the Russians? I'm like, no, surely not, but like, oh wait, no, some of you are openly serving the Russians, the DEA, they are openly serving the fucking Russians. They're compromised in real life. And that's why they troll about it more than anybody, y'all, because they doublespeak. Oh, yeah, the Russian collusion. We were so transparent that's why Bill Barr didn't want anybody to read the Mueller report in any way. I'll be honest, y'all, Bill Barr read the Mueller report, and Bill Barr, he sort of, quote, changed sides, did he not, y'all? He's like, yeah, okay, January 6th was, not just kind of some really bad shit. I'll be honest, I just gotta kind of, change sides real quick here, because, this is not just about some Stormy Daniels shit going down right now. Everybody's like, oh no, he just, he's accused of, having a wife that was his third or before. I don't even care. It's I almost pity Melania Trump in a way. I'm not trying to be, condescending. I kind of sympathetically. I'm not even saying she's a good person. I can't speak to that nuance, y'all, but wow, what a fucking terrible man in a way. Okay, wait, the nuance, though, right? It's is he a terrible man? Well, I'm not even saying, y'all, that I don't hate him. But that's what's so difficult about, a conversation like last night, y'all. I've been so calm. It's my grandmother is not calm at all. She's seeing the emperor is now the emperor is, he's going to be a criminal. Going to be is what I'm saying. Is wait, he's going to now be a criminal? That's what some of you don't understand, y'all. This shit goes at least way back to the 90s with Trump and the Russians, really, y'all. He went, again, talk about compromisation, y'all. He went under And that's the thing, y'all. I'm not even trying to talk shit about, well, everybody has trouble in life sometimes or whatever, but like, you've compared myself to people like Donald Trump, fucking Ken Paxton, Greg Abbott, all of these people, like so much money, so much power, so much influence. I have nothing, y'all. Literally nothing, and I never wanted anything, and I still don't. That's what's weird, y'all. I'm saying about that vehicle in a way, like, quite frankly, there's been so much contention over it. It makes me just sick to my stomach. It was used, to make this really abusive thing about me. At the same time, it's like, to be honest with you, yeah, I've been saying the design. I'm a fan of Mazda's design. There's no, that's the thing, you think I'm just like, oh, you like cool cars. Like, no, why am I a fan of Mazda design? They design an affordable vehicle, it's actually, I'm a fan of Toyota and Honda as well in a way, y'all, but see, like, both of them, we always talk about the Toyota tax, right, because they're known for being, like, really just, like, it's so, reliable, and, like, it runs forever. Mazda's, like, their new vehicles even, compare the prices, and sure, like, they're getting a little bit more premium. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right, but I've talked about the ideas, creative, genuine ideas, like the e-Auto, which is, like, it's kind of humorous, y'all, but I'm saying, like, look at that. You make a small electric car and apply that, Spartan mentality that Mazda has about, like, no, don't put a massive battery in it. It's not about range. In fact, use it as a marketing tool, maybe in some cases. Make it fun to drive, like an electric vehicle that's fun to drive. It handles well, and I'm saying I know that Mazda engineers can do that. There's no question in my mind. Just like Teslas, I've very briefly driven one, y'all, but like everybody says, they can be really, really fun to drive in real life. It's like, part of it is a whole plaid thing, and this is also, it's not pandering in any way, y'all. When I'm talking about, like, why don't cops, someday, like, I'm saying, like, okay, this is the thing, all right, and I'll be the first to acknowledge the nuance here. A company like Tesla, in my opinion, right? We're seeing a lot more privatization of some things in our world, right? And maybe there's nuance to address in some of that. But I'm saying, like, it would be amazing. I saw a police department, they're basically retrofitting Teslas to be cop cars. And they're explaining, it's like, okay, wait, no, this is not about us having cool Teslas, right? This is about, and it's not even just about, trying to benefit the environment, which it does. It's like a double win, right? It's like more than a double or a triple win. This is what I'm saying. They're having to go buy parts and especially, spend money on labor. If they've decided, and in that case, right after pull up the video, and I certainly will, y'all, this is the content I want to generate freely in a live stream, talk about, technical portfolios, right? I want to show, because I spoke to a lot of this, y'all, and I've been saying, it's like, I could have been live streaming back then, and why didn't I? Well, it's like, to be honest with you, is layered and nuanced. I need more information. I'm very chosen with my words. Way back then, it's like, this terrible, double-edged sword of, like, you're recording me without my consent. Every single thing I say, then you're like, now invalidate it. Remember, if he says anything we don't like, where, oh no, he's just obsessed with Tesla, or he just like products, or wait, he's just like really educated about technical markets, or he's just really educated about processors and chip architectures, even if he's not the world's leading expert. He's just really educated about technology, and he's saying he didn't even want to talk about NSO Group or Pegasus, because look what's happened to people who do. They just get fucking relentlessly targeted in real life, and then we've already relentlessly targeted him, and so it's like, wow, what a terrible fucking paradox to create for him. He's like, I don't really want to talk about it, but you're making me talk about it. I don't really want to talk about it, but you're making me talk about it. I don't really want to talk about it, but like I have to talk about it because you people have now tried to fucking assassinate me in real life, and it's not mental illness, not on one occasion, but on multiple occasions now. It's not mental illness. For anybody that watches this later, to my one consensual viewer, thank you very much for joining. If you don't mind just checking out the rules. This is called a multi-stream. The main feed is Voyager 0, twitch.tv/Voyager 0. I've got, 2 iPhones right now. It's kind of a, duct tape and bubble gum, implementation to do this technical portfolio, but it actually, it's still, I'm showing that it kind of works well. There's some, constellations, there's delay, right? In Voyager 0, the cameras have to catch up. Sometimes that can be helpful or useful, right? Just depending on the context, but it's kind of like live editing, and that's kind of what I was trying to bring people's attention to. Sort of like live editing, you can walk outside with the camera, put it on cellular if you want to, with forethought that you might want to walk around in a neighborhood, or just have a talk on your walk, your calm, genuine, peaceful walk, which is all that it ever is for me. And so I'm kind of using a technical portfolio to do, legal testimony to protect myself, and that's the thing. It's not mental illness. These people have actually tried to assassinate me now on more than one occasion, and we're just letting this shit keep going. And I'm not even trying to be frustrated with those who have done the right thing at all. What I'm saying is, it's like, what the hell, yo? I'm just being left to fucking starve to death. Because I would be doing a technical job. I wouldn't be streaming 24 hours a day if we could actually just obligate these people to obeying our own laws. And they don't give a fuck. So 18 plus only, trigger warning, because I have actually in real life, it's not mental illness, in real life I've been subjected to relentless fucking psychological torture in real life.